Hello everybody, Stevie P here from Forever Sports, and I'm here to tell you about BOYLESPORTS, the official betting partner of Forever Sports. Across all of our channels, they are one of the leading betting companies in the world and have recently launched in South Africa with an amazing offering. You can get a 1,000 Rand welcome offer. For the rugby, they are giving you 25% payout boost up to 2,000 Rand on the Springboks winning the World Cup, as well as an extra 50 Rand bet when you stake 250 more on rugby during the Rugby World Cup. It is your one-stop betting shop. That is BOYLESPORTS. Come and join us in the community. Check the links in the description to sign up, get yourself an account, and make sure that you are winning big with BOYLESPORTS. Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's World Rankings preview, it is round 2 of the Rugby World Cup, and as a result, the rankings will continue to change. We saw quite a lot of change over the last weekend. None so much in the top 5 of the top 10, but a lot in the bottom 5 of the top 10, in that every single team in the bottom 5 of the top 10 did move. And so there can be a lot more movement this weekend with a lot of very interesting clashes taking place over the weekend. So, yeah, before we look at exactly what some of the permutations are and what you can expect for the weekend, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So in terms of the permutations, we'll go through exactly what World Rugby have shown us and what they've sort of told us could happen. Unfortunately, it probably doesn't look as much exciting as it was maybe a week ago, because a lot of the big teams are playing sort of smaller teams, the likes of New Zealand playing in Namibia, South Africa versus Romania, France versus Uruguay, for example. So Scotland are playing. So a lot of teams in the top 5 can't really make much movement. So much more so in sort of the bottom 5 of that top 10, which could change. So these are the permutation highlights that have been published by World Rugby ahead of the second week. So only 2 of the 8 matches over the weekend will have an impact if the highest ranked team is victorious. A consequence of the significant difference in rates between the opposing teams. So that means that only 2 teams who are ranked higher than their opponents could actually make movements this weekend. So England could only improve their rating by 0.02 points with victory over Japan, given the 9.93 points difference between the teams. This means they can go no higher than their current 6th position, but also puts them at risk of being overtaken by Australia if the Wallabies beat Fiji by more than 15 points. So the Wallabies are one of the few sides that can rise quite a lot. If that were to happen, Australia would climb 2 places up until 5th, which would leapfrog both England as well as replace Scotland, who are not playing this weekend and so cannot change their ranking at all. If that were to happen, Fiji will slip out of the top 10 if beaten by this margin, and as well as Samoa beating Chile. A smaller margin of defeat for Fiji will see them fall 1 place down to 10th. Wales will drop out of the top 10 for the first time since the rankings were introduced if beaten by Portugal by more than 15 points, and can go potentially as low as 13th if Samoa beat Chile by 15 points as well. Any form of victory for Portugal will earn them a new high of 15th, that is against Wales, unless Tonga spring a surprise against Ireland. Pretty unlikely, but you never know. We're interested to see exactly how this Tongan side will go this weekend. Portugal will return to the World Cup stage after 16 years, could go as high as 12th, depending on the margin of victory and other results. Whilst Chile can enter the top 20 for the first time if they beat Samoa for their first Rugby World Cup victory, leaving Namibia, as long as assuming they lose to New Zealand, as the lowest ranked team in the tournament. Samoa, meanwhile, could fall as many as 5 places if they lose to Chile. None of the top 4 teams in the rankings can improve their rating. There is still scope for a change at number 1 during this round of matches. South Africa came within a point of returning to top spot last weekend, and the Springboks will become the new number 1s if they beat Romania and Ireland do not beat Tonga. So if it is a draw or Ireland lose to Tonga and South Africa beat Romania, South Africa will go to number 1. In this scenario, along with the...
Hello there and welcome everyone to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. My name is Wes and today we will be looking at the preview for the match between South Africa and Romania. The match is set to take place in Stade de Bordeaux and is going to be refereed by the Frenchman Matteo Reynal. The only previous meeting between the two sides was in the 1995 World Cup hosted by South Africa. The match was played down in Newlands Stadium.
But it's encouraging that they at least showed the fight right to the end.
Yeah, no, totally. I'll get your thoughts as well. See, Barry Frio, do you think Fiji can beat us? We're going to do some predictions later in the show, so we'll do some round robins of what we think. But while you speak, I'm going to put my camera off and put some lights on because this professional presenter here just needs to get out of this dark room. So, yeah, give us your thoughts on Wales and Fiji, and I'll be right back.
No, see you in a bit, Chris. Yeah, I think for me, guys, I had the privilege of being able to sort of do the watch along for that game, and so that was a lot of fun. I mean, that was the best watch along I've had because it was just action packed the whole game through. There was never a quiet moment, and I hear what you're saying, Rees, but I think we don't like to talk about the officials and the refs, but I think there was maybe this comes in the controversy later on, but if you look at how many warnings Wales got down in their 22, on the line, cynical infringements, like if you're offside, slowing down the ball on the 5 meter, that's a cynical infringement. It's the same thing as collapsing a maul, so it's very similar to that. And then the Fijians go down and they commit 1 infringement and they get a yellow card. And this was not the only case. It was just the most blatant, of time where we saw it. So I
didn't have the privilege of watching as much of the game as you did. Do you think that it's more? I mean, did they have despite the decisions that went against them? Do you think that they should have closed it out? I guess that's more where I was heading with it.
Yeah, I think for Fiji to be able to come back into that position, given the numerous calls made against them, or calls that didn't go their way. I think is really impressive, and it speaks more about the Fijian like temperament. I'm going to use that word a lot this week. Where the Fiji of old might have just gotten a bit emotional and dropped their heads and got out the game and reverted to the old. But we saw this, what I've been talking about, this more consistent Fiji where they're making the right decision more often than not. And for me, that's what makes a good team and even a great team, is how often can you make the correct decision? You can't make the correct decision every time. The teams will make the wrong decision. Players will make the wrong decision. You're going to need a moment. But the Fiji now we see are making the smart rugby, high rugby IQ decisions, which I think is really impressive. And so I still see them with a chance in this to qualify.
Yeah, and Rudes, I don't know what you feel as well. Are you also, there was high optimism with Fiji, right? And they ended up feeling like giving the Wales a good game. How do you feel went from? Do you think they obviously were outdone, but do you think they possibly should have won? And again, how do you see them rolling out the rest? Do you think I know we will do predictions, but how do you see them rolling out against Australia?
Yeah, I agree with Wes when he says Fiji have got obviously a new structure to them. They're not only the flair, they've got the brains, the IQ. I just think it's an uphill battle now against Australia. So they were looking to set a platform and at least challenge for second spot in the group. I think overcoming Eddie Jones might be a step too far. I don't think there's reason we can't believe and hope, but I think we're going to be living on a hope with that one. The Wales game was there for the taking, and I think in the last moment it was just the rub of the ball, the moisture, and just unlucky for Fiji there. The question would remain, though, if they did score that try, would they have kicked the kick over? So it wasn't a guarantee, it was an opportunity, but I think the Australia game is just a slight push too far, although I'd love to see some more exciting rugby from Fiji.
Yeah, but Fiji are fun to watch, aren't they? And now they have improved some of the kind of basics, you want to call it, discipline and structures of the game. They are even more interesting to watch. I'm not going to touch on any other games. Well, we'll go to the books next. But any other games besides the books, you guys have any comments on? You want to say anything?
Just very briefly,
how Ireland ran, or yeah. No.
Go ahead, Wes. Yeah, all yours.
Shot proof. No, I was just going to compliment the Chileans on having what I thought was a great start to their Rugby World Cup, or their debut. So I mean, they did get put down quite heavily towards the end there. However, they came out and just again the level of rugby they demonstrated and played. I mean, to be on such a big stage in their first game, I thought it was it was fantastic to see the Chileans coming out and having another new side in a Rugby World Cup. So yeah, my hats off to them.
Yeah, and also for the minnows bet. Sorry, Ariza.
I think my only other game of note was probably obviously the Ireland game. I think great to see Johnny Sexton back. I don't think anyone needs to read too much about it. He obviously had quite a performance there, but it is quite a poor Romania side. But I do wonder. I suppose we'll get into when we do our predictions whether having the softer game first is a benefit or a hindrance. We've gotten over one of our big ones first in Scotland, which we'll get into in a second. I feel that stands us in better stead going into the rest of our group, that we've overcome one of our challenges already. For them, their tournament hasn't really started yet.
Yeah. I was just going to say, in terms of the minnows, it was quite exciting. And if you were a betting man and actually were brave enough to bet it, the Chileans scoring first and the Romanians scoring first, if you put that in a double, we could have all packed up or quit and join Wednesday in Botswana and our own safari lodge. But yeah, it was quite exciting to see the guys, have a good start off that well. But obviously it is, let's face it, men versus boys at the end of the day. I did enjoy Chile's endeavor. I did. They gave Japan a hard game. They had to really fight their way into that game, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, I'm going to quickly do the betting segment bought by BOYLESPORTS. Myself truly. You've been ticking along nicely on the show. I'll just bring in the slide as we usually do. So yeah, again, we had another nice week last week. Two winners that I gave out last week. We had the France versus New Zealand second half higher scoring that ended up winning kind of comfortably ish, but yeah, it won, so it was good. Take it home. And Georgia's last try at the end, they also brought in this bit. But a win's a win, and we move on. We
Yeah.
move forward,
Yeah.
and we on to 17 17 wins, 10 losses on the win-loss record. We up edging up to 20 units on this since we started the segment, and where we operate in a lovely 54% return on investment. Take that any day. You're doing well. Let's say if you're 20%, you're doing really well. So yeah, take that. Because we're early in the week, I wanted to see more teams, and the early games are too much of a mismatch and too many big caps going on there for me to get too much involved yet at the moment. But yeah, there it is. I'm saying that the cap is 22.5 for Japan against England. I just think England almost could be a false positive, that Argentina game. I think Japan should give this England team a decent run. I'll be surprised if England do run away from Japan. So I would have probably capped this around 15. So we'll give out one punt. We'll add this to the record. We'll do Japan plus 22.5. I think that's a couple points too much. So we'll see how we do with that again. Yeah, next week. So now we'll move on to the box. I think before we get to next week in the team, let's go through the game. Let's talk about South Africa versus Scotland, right? I mean, was it 15 points at the end? Victory, a couple of points higher than what the bookies were thinking. Restricting Scotland to 3. Yeah, sure, great defense, but I think Scotland also didn't do themselves any favors at times as well. So, yeah, is it a dominant book performance that everyone is happy with, or do we think that there are still some issue there? Scotland didn't arrive, and there's possibly still some weaknesses, if you want to call it, that possibly teams could expose, or are we happy? Riza, how are you feeling? Where do you think that how do you think that went, and where does that leave us?
So I was fortunate enough to obviously be in our live fan park, and it was I interviewed a couple of people, and obviously they were quite festive and enjoying themselves. But so the enthusiasm and the confidence for the books was quite high, and I couldn't help but think to myself while I was doing those interviews that I'm not entirely sure that I'm actually happy with the way that they closed out that game. I was hoping that we would come away with the bonus point there. I think we had just over 22, 23 minutes or something like that in which to get that third try. And it was maybe slightly concerning, if I had to really be nitpicky about the performance, that they weren't able to create really many chances in that last quarter to kind of do that. I was hoping that they'd push a bit harder for it. From a defensive point of view, an incredible performance, and it's the kind of thing that we've come to expect from the Boks in the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 years, pre-2019. So it's very solid. I think we take it. We don't moan too much. I hope that bonus point doesn't come back to haunt us. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm impressed with it though. I liked the composure shown. I think perhaps if I had to pick apart an area of concern for me was maybe in the centers. Dielendi and Kriel didn't quite ever look like they were threatening much, in my opinion. And I think that's probably one of the areas of concern.
Yeah, I could possibly agree. Rudes, I'm going to come into your beloved books. I think you're predicting a 52, 60 point win. I'm only kidding. I know you're expecting or hoping a nice big book win there. I thought it would be closer, so it was probably about right. But I mean, we can't ever really be disappointed. We shut an international team down to 3 points. But how do you feel, Rudes? How do you feel the game went?
So for me, obviously, the first half was a very tight affair. I think that the Springboks were still getting into gear. I think once those traffic lights start working in the second half, the guys started to also get their peripheral vision going. But no, I think for the sake of individual players, there were some standouts. Collectively, I think we still got to put it all together. It will be interesting to see post-Romania. Obviously, we're going to touch on that, but what sort of team they want to put together for the Ireland game, because there were some concerns in areas. I think our defence is solid. I think Ireland's going to battle with that, any team for that matter. And I think we just overpowered Scotland in that game in the second half. So our bomb squad is still relevant. I know Reza mentioned now the centres were a problem. I want to agree with him and also say that I'm not sure if it was an instruction to get the ball to Delende and he go route one again. But I think that route one is 2019 and we've moved on from there. So I'd possibly like to see a switch in the centres. And then the last cause for concern, I know I've mentioned it before. I've forgiven him. He's an amazing player and we need him at fly-off. But I think the indication with Faf de Klerk being on the bench for this Romania game might be an indication that they want to take the kicking duties away from Mani Lebok for the Ireland game so that he can focus on doing what he does absolutely best and give those duties to Faf de Klerk. That's my opinion. But great win. I think it puts us in a good place, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Sorry, Chrissy. I just want to just quickly. I think that I'm getting hacked in the comments here. That but I just want to be very clear. I am very much saying that my problem with the centres at the moment is that as a combination, they're not creating a lot of opportunities. DLND will always go forward. Everyone knows that. But whether that really moves and creates opportunities for the players outside him all the time is not always the case. And so, if he's creating that space and there's a game plan post those crash balls, sure, no problem. But I do agree with everyone. On defense, they were fantastic, which is exactly what we've come to expect. But I think that you go Moody, you go Esterhuizen, I think they've been creating a lot more opportunities than the DLND Creole combo.
Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reese. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, Bitdefender. Bitdefender is a global leader in cyber security. Bitdefender is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with Bitdefender, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on Bitdefender, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video.
Well, that's one I wanted to ask. So if you had to pick a team, say we play in Ireland next week, Rudes and Reza, who's your centre combination then? Rudes?
Ireland.
Or Reza?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Can we leave that one to Wiz?
Wiz, Rudes, do you want to you did mention the centre combination. Would you change them? And if you did, who would you? Would you bring in Esterhuizen? If Moody was available, would you bring in Moody?
Yeah, I like the Esterhuizen because I think he's got that ability with his physical. He's got that ability with his physical prowess to go forward, but also he's got the soft hands. So that's going to allow the opportunities for Kane and Moody outside and Kurtley Orange. So possibly Esterhuizen at 12 at least.
All right, and Camp Creel still at 13, yeah. All right, Wes, on to you, my man. How do you feel it went? Obviously, guys have made their comments. How did that go for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was proper nervous at the end of the first half. Was it, I think 6-3 we went in, and I think we came out hard in that first 20 minutes, and we were looking good. And I think we looked like we had showed up to play, and we were playing some good rugby, and we were attacking with pace. And Scotland were there matching us, bit for bit, and we just couldn't quite crack through. And then our scrum started to struggle. I mean, I had to pinch myself and check what reality I was in, and Doctor Strange in the multiverse, whatever was going on.
That was so weird.
Where I was, because it was just so odd. And so I went into the half not feeling great. Still obviously I think backing the boys, believing we could win, but I was a bit concerned. And then second half came in, and again, we came out with that intensity. And I think it was a combination of that, our fitness potentially, as well as then the bomb squad, as Rudy mentioned. And I mean, Ox, Mganami came on, and Trevor. So, you know, I mean, and they just said, right, we got this, and the Scots couldn't hang with those three, which is interesting, because they I think were the starting front row not so long ago. I know there's been injuries and a bit of this and that, but they were the choice front row. So I wonder if we might see a shift there, or because they were so effective off the bench, do they remain part of the bomb squad and then to have that effect? And once we started getting sorry, Chris, which is the last thing, once we started getting our forward momentum and our scrums, and we started winning that, then things opened up for us. And I'll touch on the center stuff lastly. Yeah, I do think that if we played Ireland, I probably would choose Damien and Jesse. I think that despite them not creating opportunities or potentially being as go forward as an Estays and Moody combination, we still managed to beat a good team, the 5th ranked team in the world, by 15 points. And so we can create opportunities elsewhere. Obviously, ideal if we use the centers to make better ground, but I think given their defensive structure and the fact that we can still exploit teams elsewhere, I'd probably back those two. It'll be very interesting to see this weekend.
Yeah, well, guys, what I mean about the bomb squad, right? I mean, it's all about the last 20 minutes, and it has been for the Boks for a long time, but the last 20 minutes was one of the worst 20 minutes of international rugby I've seen in a long time. But both sides, there were mistakes, giving away penalties, mistakes all across the park. I thought we got those 2 tries, we were going to kick on. I thought we were going to kick on and score another 2 tries, and we didn't do it. The bomb squad didn't. I mean, we regained control of the forwards. That was what we had to do, number one for sure. But we didn't run it. We didn't kind of. I thought we would take it away from them, and I don't know if you guys feel is that something to worry about again, or is it one test, one next, that test done in the bag, and we move forward, and the bomb squad does its job again next time out? Reza, what do you think?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, people forget that we are pundits. We are there to pick apart the good and the bad. And while we are saying that it would have been, and I mean, I fully agree with you, it would have been absolutely great to see them kick on. We also understand the rigors of professional rugby, and it's not a bad Scotland team. And I'm sure that they will, if Russie and Jacques are sitting there in the dugout having a cup and said, "Hey guys, fantastic game. That was like a little bit concerned about this," because they always have something to work on, and that's all we're saying is that if you've got to pick something that they probably should have done better, is maybe just close the game out completely. And there was a target, a tangible milestone in that bonus point that was very much within their reach that they weren't able to get. So if they were looking at something to improve on, I think that would be the thing for them.
Yeah, that was I thought that the first half would have bothered us a lot, and we would have come out with a massive bean up on it and a kind of a point to prove, even though we were we didn't look like losing. That's really, okay, we'll talk about the card. Would have a Creel red card affected the game? I don't know, we can talk about that later, but I was a little bit disappointed. I would have liked to have seen us squeeze the life out of Scotland and at least get another try, but both teams are making the mistakes, and the turnovers were coming, but yeah, that's how it was. But let's move on to the weekend, and let's actually start. The book squad was announced today. Very,
Chris,
very
I just
interesting.
can I add something there?
Yeah, sure, go for it, man. Yeah.
I think on a serious note, the loss of Eben Etzebeth early on also flattened us a little bit. We didn't anticipate losing such a leader and an aggressive man, always attacking the gain line, cleaning the rucks. So I think that definitely influenced things in a way. And then on a lighter note, just coming back to the fly-off, I heard someone say that if you know how to Tokyo drift, then parallel parking shouldn't be a problem. So that's just for Moni Lebok and just a bit of fun.
Never heard that one
I like
before,
that,
but I do
Roots.
like
I
it.
like
Yeah,
that,
good
Roots.
one, Roots. You picked your moment there and you delivered. That was I appreciated that one. But just on the book, and I'm not hold. I know we've had our conversation, but look, I am a the book man. You guys know this, and we can bang on about his kicking. But when that boy needs to kick 3 points in a big game, he's gonna put it over, right? I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. Let him do his razzmatazz and his no looks, and he's gonna kick backwards with his bum or something. Let him do it all and we'll be fine. So he'll be fine. Let's back him.
I
So
mean, if you heard Sia Khaleesi's you know, I
Mm.
mean, it was all over the
Press
internet
conference.
about how he defend Marnie. He makes a very good point. It's just like, he does everything else in the game almost to perfection.
yeah, yeah,
And just because it's such a visceral thing, kicking, that you
yeah,
see quite clearly that it's quite a target on his back, unfortunately. But I
yeah.
think he needs to get the benefit of the doubt. Joe. He's really been playing fantastically
I,
well. He'll fix that. He'll fix it for sure.
I agree. He can kick.
Sure.
Yes, it's not the averages we want, right? Just sorry, Wes, did you want to say something?
No, no.
Oh, sorry, mate. Cool. Sorry. Yeah, guys, let's go onto the team. I would say we got some changes there. Um, I think Roots, I'll start with you, mate. I don't know what you feel with we also quite very interesting with the scrum offs. Everyone was like, why the hell do we have 4 scrum offs in the squad? Well, here we go, boys. I think maybe maybe the craziness has revealed itself. But Roots, I'll give you first stab at you. What is your first impressions of the squad and how they're going to go against Romania? Obviously, we are anticipating a very comfortable win, aren't you? But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so for me, it's obviously a lot of changes. I think it's a squad rotation thing as well. I mean, it's not a normal thing to see 4 scrum offs in a starting 23, but I think the versatility of those scrum offs counts in our favor. So if things happen where we perhaps, I'm just for example saying we need to do a 7-1 split, where can those scrum offs fit in potentially on the wing like we see Grant Williams now? So what will also be interesting for me is to see which players from this match actually then stay behind and form part of the Ireland game. We think of a guy like Jean Klein with so much Irish experience. Will he factor in? Are these players just obviously rotating, as I mentioned? For me, South Africa are going to absolutely trample Romania. If I look at 1 to 23, there's experience, there's excitement. It's interesting, though, as I mentioned earlier, Damian Willemse at 10 with no Mani Lebok, who would then take over the kicking duties in the second half after Clerk. Do you then give him the opportunity in the Ireland game to actually take that away from Mani Lebok? And as Riza mentioned, let him do what he does absolutely best.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a quick one. I mean, I think the bookies again are saying a 70-point win. Is this change team, considering Ireland with a full strength team beat them what by 70 odd, just under 80? So with 10 more points, you think this team goes past 70 points margin over Romania? This team we put out, or do you think that the combos are just too fresh and too unknown, and maybe it's going to be a bit closer than that? What do you think, Roots?
I think for me, the South African bomb squad again in the second half will be just too much for Romania. I think we've played them on one occasion, and I don't think they're going to enjoy the second time playing against us. It just wears off on you, like they mentioned. It's a slow poison, and I think there's still enough in the back line to be dynamic enough to score 10 tries at least.
Yeah, yeah. Ariza, any surprises? Yeah, I think we probably were absolutely expecting a change team, weren't we? I'm not so sure about some of the combos. I mean, obviously Reina holds
Um,
the dirt trackers together. Of course he does.
okay,
He
all
always
right.
has. He
Okay.
always has. Even and then
Yeah,
this and
Chris.
and what do you think? I mean, well, Grant Williams is there on the wing, and I think that's a big reason why there were possibly were 4 scrum halves, right? So what do you make of the team?
I actually think probably my biggest issue here is actually with the bench, perhaps. I'm reading there's 2 things that I'm reading into here. I see Kobus starting at Scrummy. I see Jaden on the bench. And I no, maybe it tells us a lot, maybe it doesn't tell us a lot about which one of them's higher in the pecking order. And with Grant on the wing, it tells me nothing. I really don't know who is in the mind of the Springbok coaching staff as if they were to choose a second scrummy to start, who's it going to be? And I mean, going off this, you would think that they're trying to give Kobus time in that role. And really, it's Jaden and Grant that probably need it most. But having said this, that's the one concern I have. I don't think there's anything wrong with what they've done, but it's they've obviously got a plan, and maybe we're just not privy to it. The other thing is obviously Damien at 10. I would have liked to have seen, I'm sure Ruz will agree with me, maybe even Wes, is that Marnie probably, I would have liked to have seen him still get some time here. I think that he's riding a very high run of form at the moment, and he is a confidence player. And maybe he would have liked the opportunity to have a second half, maybe 30 minutes off the bench to just kind of slot, bang some kicks, express himself a little bit, and just kind of keep riding the form that he's in. So that's, if I was to be very picky about this, that's it. Oh, and Vincent Koch as well with the start there. After seeing the Trevor Bongi Ox combination, I thought that maybe they would have liked to give them again a sense of continuity and maybe Vincent off the bench for the second half. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I still think that we probably put over 60 on them.
Yeah. Whereas so what obviously running on the back of those guys' comments, what do you feel? What do we make of Williams at 14? Because like you say, like would have made more sense. That I agree with Reese's comments there. Give Williams a run at 9, and even Hendricks could have got it. But what are you going to do with Hendricks and Faf on the bench? I'm very interested to see what they want to do. Do you have any ideas what these coaches are thinking? Where's what do you think's going on here?
No, I mean, if you start to try and get into the mindset of a man who unfollows everyone on Twitter except for the one team they're going to play for that week, you can lose yourself in the weeds. Before I get wrecked in the comments, I know it's X, but whatever. So no, I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's exciting. I think it's unknown. I think these guys are innovators, and I think with that comes risk, and it might not work or it might come off. Like with the 7-1, we've seen how they've deployed that, and it's worked in our favor this time. And so it'll be very interesting to see with their choices. Like again, these decisions I don't think are sprung on the guys. They're not. The guys don't find out who's starting where when we do, obviously the public. So there will be conversations with the team and saying, hey, okay, why don't we do this? They've run these combinations in practice. They've tried these, and clearly they've seen something. They think, hey, this could potentially work here. And they're thinking combinations down the line. I mean, what if, touch wood, everyone finds some wood right now and touch it, because what if Lebok does go down and is ruled out the rest of the World Cup and Pollard's not there, blah, blah, blah. Like, what about all that? Then Willems is going to need to slot in at 10. So let's get him in there with as much time as possible. So, look, this is going to be my first Bok watch along. So I am super excited and
nice
very privileged to have this opportunity, which I can't wait to do. So I'm looking forward to
No pressure. It's just 350,000 people.
Well, let them come, right? If you build it, they will come. Please come join us
exactly.
and watch the Boks dismantle Romania.
And Wes will bring the ladies, so it's up to 500 this weekend. Let's go, boy!
Stuff.
Yeah. No, but that's exciting, man. That's exciting for me. I'm looking forward for that for you, man. That's really, really gonna be good. Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna do predictions, but while we're on the books, I mean, I think we all know the books are gonna win, right? Are we gonna do a round robin of predictions? Anyone fancy Romania on the weekend? Yeah.
Okay, that's just a waste of fan forum time, Chris. Really.
Yeah, but what margins are we going by? Because I think you guys brought up a good point about like it was a full island strength team who got then about just 70 odd or just over 70. So what do we think for margins? Do we think, as you said, Chris, it was a good point, because this is a new combination, fresh combination side. Can we put 40, 50 plus, or will it be a bit scrappy and maybe a 20 plus game?
I think if you look at 40, 50 plus, just to jump in there, Chris, I think that is a scrappy game. I think that is a scrappy game. I think a good performance is 60 points plus. I think a scrappy game is 40 to 50 points.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I don't know if you want to add anything there. I think 70 points is about right. I think maybe we'll be just short. I don't know. It'll be the second half, won't it? It's a lot about the second half with these minnow teams, of how much they got left to hang on, Rudes. But I know you said
I'm going with South Africa 77. That's 11 tries, but only 8 conversions. So the final score 71. Romania are going to get 1 consolation try, so 71-5.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Maurice, you get that right. I'll buy you. I'll buy you a bottle of whatever it is that you drink, buddy.
Well, that's actually what we are.
And I say Romania to score a try. I think we're going to give them a try in the 80th minute just because we don't want them to Romania.
Oh, gee, Roots is so full of it, eh? So full of it, Stephen, eh? Nice, Roots. Yeah, well, actually, we'll say we want to talk on to contribute. What quite a big talking point of the weekend was the cards, right, and the decisions, and we've gone through this many times. I think we all agree that we want to protect the players and we should protect the players. So there's all these rules in to do that. We also don't always want to criticize the referees, but they brought in to man this, right? And they've been heavily criticized when they've had to make decisions on the field. So in brings the bunker system, and we think that's all going to sort it out. However, we've almost got 3 identical collisions and 3 completely different outcomes, guys. It is not, I don't think it's acceptable. I'm not going to put it on the refs because we are humans, but it's not working, right? I'll start with you, Reza. What are your thoughts on those collisions for one and the decisions that were made, and yeah, what do you think actually, where do we go from here? Do we have to just ride this out and hope it improves, or do we change? Do we have to simplify it? What do you think?
I do feel for the refs in this case quite a bit, because the card situation is actually quite ambiguous. The punishments though for cards that are, well, let's go first with play that is dangerous. That is the one reason for citation, and 2 is contact with the head, right? And so you can have a reckless play, and contact with the head is there after a aggravating factor. In fact, when you're looking at penalties over and above cards, because I don't want to go too much into the cards, I'll let one of the other boys do that. But those scenarios where they look into in post game, there's been no consistency at all. It says there that they should get, I think it's a minimum, a mid-level is a minimum 6 game ban. And we saw even before the World Cup started that simply just isn't happening. There's a whole bunch of reasons that they're offering up as, this is mitigation, and this is aggravation, and this is just, we're just keeping quiet on it. This is just the punishment we're giving out, and no one seems to know what the standard is that they're working off anymore. And I find myself very frustrated at what's going on. And you know what, if it had been consistent throughout, and even the Creel card, if it had been consistent throughout and he was given a card for it, I'd be sitting here going, yeah, no lacquer, shot, 100%, we move on. But that isn't the case. And so you can understand other nations, when it goes against them, are rightfully up in arms at the moment.
Yeah, Wes, I'll move on to you because I know you wanted to comment the Creel. Let's talk about the Creel. I mean, I think do you feel that what should have that outcome have been? What do you feel it should have been? I know it wasn't. It was obviously not even looked at. Do we even know if it's cited as well? But secondly, also, I mean, what do you feel? Because for me, how come us as the public can see it and go, okay, that's that's obvious. Why are we as non-professional referees not getting paid to make decisions? Seemingly can make the decision. What do you think is going on? It's the same for VR in football, right? You see some very dubious and weird contentious. So we just brought more human error. Let's add on some more human error, and let's be happy with 2 wrongs make a right. Like it's very odd. What do you think there, Wes? Especially the Krill incident and all of it. What do you feel?
Yeah, it's a really tricky one, but I'm going to just try keep it as simple as I can. So we saw obviously Tom Curry with a sort of upright in the tackle, head-on-head contact, no real mitigation, got the yellow card, which I think is definitely the correct call, to the bunker for the review. And I think the ref made the right call there. Fine. And then you go to the TMOs, and again, they judged that there were no mitigation factors, and so that could be upgraded to a red. And I think it's a harsh call, but I think it's a strict or a reading of the laws, like as they are. This is what it is, and it's a red card. So I think you can't be too cross with that, because you can go, okay, I can see how they got there, so I get it. But then you had Martin Sigrin, the captain for the Chilean side, doing almost the exact same thing as Tom Curry, and got a yellow card. got reviewed. So cool, the ref did the right call there. But then it goes to the bunker system, and it's deemed that it's going to remain a yellow. So all of a sudden you're thinking, wait a second, how can that be? If you look at them side by side, I think it's almost the exact, like, identical tackle. So for public, I think what the players are after as well, what I think they're desperate for, is give us the reasons why. So you said there's no mitigation, but then why was this one? What's different? Show us the difference. It's like the office meme where Pam says, corporates asked us to pick out the two, spot the difference between these images, and there isn't one. It's like we need to know what's going on. And then Jesse Creel, again, the ref, I'm not going to blame the ref because there's so much going on in a game. They've missed it. But this comes to the TMO. I mean, we've seen, this is the most involved, I think, TMOs and VAR and bunkers and whatever's been involved. So how do you miss that? Is it the directors, the TV directors? Again, I don't know how it all works in the operation room, but surely someone saw it. Well, clearly someone did see it, because the ITV commentary team would not shut up about it. And again, rightly so, because if it was happening to us, we would be, I can tell you there, Nas Twitter would be absolutely fuming in the SuperSport studio. I mean, it would just be unbelievable. So again, it comes down to that. We just want consistency as players, as fans, as sportsmen and women. You want consistency, and what that breeds, I think, is actually then safer conduct, because if players don't know what they can and can't do, then you have this sort of weird gray zone. So
Well,
totally
I
agree.
mean, the one thing you can't do is have contact with the head. It's just about what is the correct punishment for differing severities of,
Sorry, I'm there with you, and I agree.
Yeah.
I think if I was to look at all those situations, I think all of those are red cards. Looking at a strict interpretation of the rules, I think they're all red.
Yeah, I agree with where they are today, right? But let's say this whole head thing. But guys, you've got to remember, we play in rugby, yeah, right? We've all played the game. Head contacts happens in every single game, no matter what, if it's intentional or not, it happens, right? I know so let's go to you, Root. So that's what I'm saying. Do you think the onus is much more on the players, because it is happening in every game? I mean, in a rugby high-speed collision, when you got split seconds to make a decision, and the head contact is going to happen no matter what. Is it still on the onus on the players, or is that the mitigation? We say maybe it is lowered, because we are seeing red cards for what for me is accidental head contact that you can't prevent. And also, like Safriki makes a point, and I was going to make it with you. Do you feel these refs need to be on loudspeakers on the stadiums, talking through the reasons and why they made a decision? So 2 questions there: how much of it is on the players to actually not have their head contact, and do you think that maybe refs actually been heard at the grounds? Could that make a difference?
I think for me, the refs obviously have a tough job in as much as these sort of decisions. But in my opinion, it's like there's a sense of a frenzy or euphoria that's overcome the referees. They've been given a mandate, and all of a sudden they're making the decisions in that moment of frenzy, basically like from the worst possible scenario that they'll go to that first. So they'll go. I know they talk about mitigating factors, but if I look at a referee, to explain my point, I think it's Wayne Barnes from England. He's always of the notion that obviously contact that's deemed foul play, he will start at the very bottom being a yellow card, and then at a point where it is a red, he'll make that decision. But I think for the moment, the mitigating factors are not really apparent to me. It's like frenzied decision based on moments where it's split seconds, where you have to decide you must now drop your angle and tackle, where the person who's attacking you's hip is much more likely to knock you out as well than your ability to perhaps stand up in the tackle. So sometimes I think the physical contact thing, we mustn't get away from the fundamentals of rugby and spoil it with these sort of nuances in the laws, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we've also.
Yeah, go guys.
Sorry,
okay, you go first.
If I could just very quickly, I think that it's a bit of an aside to the card thing. It's just that the experiment that was had with the 20-minute red card rule and then replaced with another player, was one that was quite interesting to me because I feel like that takes pressure off a referee to make that red card. You know, if they suspect it's within the definition of the rules, give the red card because it doesn't totally ruin the game. You know, it's 20 minutes off for that player, and then they're allowed to replace him afterwards with somebody else. I think that rule probably needs relooking at. I think that there's some tweaking perhaps that needs to be made there, but I think that it takes the pressure off the referee to make those hard calls, especially when they're unsure. If their first instinct is it's within the rules, I think it's a red card, then give the damn card and let's move on with the game. But yeah, that's something to add to the conversation.
Add on that, Riza, it's like we want to see, or I would like to see a scenario where the World Cup, there are more yellow cards. We don't want to see any red cards for that matter. And perhaps a scenario where if you build up 1 or 2 yellow cards, you suspend it for the next game. We're losing the basics of it by bringing in the red card bunker system, etc. I think it's complicating a scenario that could be quite simple. So in other words, let's just see more yellow and less red.
Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reese. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video.
Yo, Wes, I think you wanted to also chime in some last comment there.
I mean, we could be here, and talk about this for about an hour by itself. But I think 2 things, and then I promise I won't say any more about it. But I think one, I agree with you guys in terms of, and it was brought up in the comments as well on one of the watch-alongs this weekend. I don't agree with watching things in slow motion all the time. So I think you should use slow motion to identify where contact was made. So you use slow mo to see, okay, there is contact on the head. Cool. So we've got a head contact. Or if you're not sure, it's kind of like when in cricket, when the ball goes past the bat and it's kind of close, it's like, right, can we get ultra edge just to see? So you use slow motion just to see, okay, was there where contact was made? Then I think when referees and the TMO in the bunker or whatever they are, they then need to watch the incident in real time, not slowed down, because there's contact with the head. So you need to watch it at the time that the player had to adjust to the decision. And I think that will give them a more realistic understanding then of could the player realistically get out of position. I will just say though, for Creel, Curry and Sigrin, they were all bad tackles. They were all in the wrong position. They were never going to make effective tackles. They were all upright, high. That's a bad tackle. I don't know about you, Oaks. We say we've all played rugby. I was never taught to tackle like that. They were all upright. Like it's just yeah.
But have you never gone into we've all at some point gone into guys a little bit shorter. The games we've all gone in high at some point, not deliberately. At some point, the angles of the tackle, what's happening. I'm not, what I mean. For me, my last shot, I just feel those type of incidents are at the moment, yes, red by letter of the law. Now all 3 were red. However, for me, some of these incidences are too strict. These rules are too strict for the incident. I think we need to strip it back a little bit. Some of those things are not red card offenses. For in a game of rugby, that's not a red card offense. But we are where we are. So that's my last.
But,
I think
if you talk about so I had 2 and
go.
I only said 1. But I was going to talk about then if you say in the game of rugby, because at the end of the day, and I know we hate saying this, but it is a game and people's lives need to carry on after rugby. And there's a real issue with CTE and head collision and concussion and brain damage. Like that's just it. And so if we want people to continue playing rugby and there's a massive fallout in the US of what's going on with football, American football, like parents are not wanting to put their kids into American football because of the CTE. So that sport, might crumble, might not crumble, but what we want to see is rugby preserved. And for me, the core of rugby is not making head contact. I know that's not what you're saying. The biggest tackles I've seen ever made in rugby have been good, low, strong, hard, positive tackles where the head's not even anywhere near the other person's head. So I'm all for the physicality in rugby. You can, I'm 100% there with you, but I do think, sorry.
No, I agree. So I think with the games, because this has kind of shifted in the last 5 years. So in saying that, I agree. So I'm totally agree. If this embeds all players to be going low all the time, like it becomes this normal habit. But then I guess that's maybe where I'm missing the point. I'm going to see a different game of rugby, not the game of rugby I knew and watched and knew. And it's going to be, it's going to be a different-ish game, right? It's going to be more aerobic. What's the word they call it? So are we prepared to say goodbye to the game of rugby almost as we prepare, because we are changing the rules that much for the good of the person, maybe not the good of the game.
But the
Maybe
rules have
rugby,
changed. We 50-22, kicking it directly out into touch, line out, scrum, hold set. Rules have changed.
Chris, I've never looked at a
I'm talking
game
about
of rugby where there hasn't. I've never looked at a game where there hasn't been a high tackle and gone, geez, that was a pretty soft game. Like that's never crossed my mind once. Like rugby, when it's done properly, is still hard. It is still aggressive and physical and all of the above. And yeah, I think if this is the approach you want to take, then I'll send you the Owen Farrell highlight clip again, and you can have some dreams about that.
I'm not saying it. I'm saying it's a high-paced physical game. You're not going to get it out. I'm sorry. You guys might think if you want that, that's fine. There are going to be head contacts every single game, no matter if it's deliberate or not. Maybe the guy's trying to go low or not. It's going to happen. I promise you that. So every game you're going to watch the rest of your life, you'll see a head contact somewhere. So that's all I'm saying. And I'm just saying that the rules.
Handballs happen in football in the penalty box. It's a card or whatever the case is, a penalty. So that's it, right? So that's against the rules, and if that happens, then there you go. Anyway,
I know, but we need to protect the players, and I totally agree. I just said just get them set up, but no, because I was going to talk about headgear, right? But you're right. Go to NFL. These guys have state of the art helmets, and these guys, but they get properly slammed to the ground. So but I mean, you talking about this might be you guys, maybe people getting upset what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say we should go headbutt each other every game and get dementia. I'm just saying maybe there needs to be laws that everyone needs to wear proper state of the headgear. It's available. So why aren't rugby players putting on headgear if they can use it? Why would they?
No, because headgear has been proven to just be. It actually makes American footballers go in with worse tackles because they've got their headgear on, and it's been shown to not be a deterrent to terrible tackle technique. It's actually one of the worst things for it.
Yeah. Roots, you want to say something? Add one more last. This has gone on 50 minutes. We thought it might do. I should have started it earlier. But yeah. Roots, you got anything else to add before we go into some quick fire predictions before we end the show?
I'm good, my brother. You fire ahead.
Yeah, all right, guys. Let's go to. Yeah, we've gone a little bit over. I apologize, guys, but I hope you guys enjoyed that.
That's World Cup. It's okay.
Yeah. So we'll do predictions. Yeah, we'll all have a go. I think there's 8 games, so we'll all have a stab at 2. I will go first as the host because I'm allowed to make that decision. So, there we go. France by 50, New Zealand by 60. There we go. Easy. And then we'll go around the table as we go with Roots first. Roots will take you to the next games, and that will be Samoa versus Chile and Wales versus Portugal. What's your Samoa-Chile prediction?
Samoa 38-12 against Chile, and then obviously, sorry, what's the other game? Portugal?
Wales, Portugal.
Sorry, Wales by 50 at least. So 53-3.
Wales by 50. Okay, the bookies have got them 30. So you thinking they got that very wrong? Then it's a heavy Wales victory. Yeah, I also think Wales should be putting them by 50 as well. Wes, we'll move on to you. Wes, we've got Ireland, Tonga. How do you see that going?
Yeah, I mean, we know the Tongans love the World Cup, and I remember when we played them last in the World Cup pool game. So I think the Irish do come out on top. Obviously, I'm going to say Ireland by about 20 points. So I say Ireland by 20.
Yeah, the bookies got there by 30, so it just shows you how it's these games that we not used to seeing, how it's hard to kind of match them, right? Even though we know it's going to be a dominant wins, but by how much,
Yeah. Exactly.
And then we've got you in the South African game. You did give it earlier. But what's the margin in the South African game?
Yeah, I was
Commit, buddy, commit.
torn. I know. You boys are saying big margins, but I do think like maybe potentially some of the combinations could be new. But I think if you just look at how star-studded the back line is and the power of the forwards, so I'm gonna say South Africa. Yeah, South Africa by 65.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Riza will put you on the probably the best, they're leaving the best games for last for us this weekend, really teasing us this weekend, not even though they are big games, but they are going to be quite interesting to watch. Australia, Fiji. How do you see that one
Oh
play?
man, you've given me sure. I'll tell you what, I want to go with Fiji, but I think that Australia probably takes some heart from that first win, and I think Fiji will be quite demoralized. So I'm going to go Aussies by 10.
Yeah, I like that. Also agree. I think Aussies will just be too much. I think they're grown. They would have taken out of that Georgia win, and I still think that if you want to call them tier one, because I think Fiji might still even be above Australia. I haven't seen the last rankings, but I still think when it comes down to the crunch, at everything equal, these teams at this level, the better the team wins, right? And then England, Japan, Riza, as I say, it's 22 points. I'm calling in England 10-15. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I actually think I'm going to go with an England by 20.
Ooh, close to the. Yeah, you think you build on that win against Oz? You saw enough there.
Yeah, I'm actually. It's more about the Japanese at this point. I think that they aren't actually playing the rugby that they should be at the moment. So yeah, I think it's more down to their performance.
Yeah, fair enough. It could be. We got on the bet. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I think it should be 15. So I'm taking the points there on the betting angle. But yeah, I agree with you there. I see some of the comments, guys. Yeah, Josh and Mario, they want us to talk about Marcus' injury. We didn't. I hadn't. I'll be honest. I have been busy all day. I hadn't picked up on that. Just before we end off, does anyone want to comment on it? How is he injured? What's going on there, guys? Because I don't know. So fill me in there as well. What's going on there?
We don't know, right? That's the issue. He's kind of gone off for scans and stuff for an undisclosed injury, so it's all being kept a bit hushed at the moment, which is not great.
I think the last headline I saw was that apparently it's being touted as minor, but what minor means, in the context of a World Cup is a minor could be 2 weeks out for something, so, and that's quite a lot. But yeah, look, I mean, keep. I'm sure Stevie P, he's going to keep us updated.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just keep following the channel, guys. You'll see it here as soon as we know anything. Yeah.
Just quickly, I'm interested. What did this happen in the game? I didn't see it. And what is the injury? Do we know what parts of the body? Do we not know anything at this stage?
I think it's something a knee, I believe. I think it's a suspected ACL something.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Brings us to the end. Now we're looking forward to another weekend of no matter who's playing. We love it. We always will. And yeah, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Guys, please join into the boys. Stevie P will be in France. So exciting for them and for the channel. Loads of stuff going on around the channel. Give Wes support
France, Uruguay tomorrow night.
France. Are you on? Or who's doing the watch along tomorrow?
Yeah, Rudy's doing France, Uruguay.
Join Rudes on the watch along tomorrow, and obviously across the channel there will be fan cams and pre-shows and Gees for the boys.
And don't forget to make your predictions and your Super Brew and fantasy, all those things.
And thanks to BOYLESPORTS, our sponsors, to get on board with us for this journey. If you fancy signing up, get a sign-up bonus with the link in the channel as well. But thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining. And yeah, guys, we'll see you.
Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's Rugby World Cup Team of the Week for the first round. 8 games, 16 teams, a lot of players on display, and we've managed to whittle down to a 15-man team of top performers and standout performances over the weekend. Now, When it comes to a team of the week, it's always going to be quite contentious. There are always going to be some very unlucky players to miss out. There's always going to be some players who some people might disagree with and stuff. And that's why I want your input. That's why I want you guys' comments down in the comment section. Let me know what changes you would make, which players you agree with, which you don't agree with, what your team would look like. But also justify it. Don't just go say this guy was better than this part. Don't, give it a little bit of input as to why certain players you think had a better weekend than this player or that player. As I said, lots and lots of different players, and there's a couple that really are very unlucky to miss out. But before I show you the team, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And this is what we've got a bit of input from some of the boys at doing the watch along. So whilst this is my final team, there was some input there, and this is what we've got. Right, so it represented, we have got South Africa, England, Australia, Wales, Ireland, France, and Fiji, all getting players into the team of the week. So, yeah, there are quite a few nations missing. As I said, unfortunately, it's very difficult to try and link everybody in here. And we'll talk about in every position certain players who maybe were unlucky to miss out. So if you look at the pack, we'll start with the pack. Front row, I've gone with Stephen Kitsoff. I thought Reddy Wadi had a pretty good game, as did Angus Bell for Australia. But I thought that Stephen Kitsoff really did scrum very well, was very good in the loose, carried the ball as well. I thought that he had a really top game for South Africa. I think he's one of probably the form loose head prop in the world right now. He's become so mature these days. Obviously brings a big part of his leadership as well to the team. Jamie George, I thought was one of the best games I've seen him play in quite a while. It was a much better England performance, and the pack really showed up before George Ford masterclass, and I thought that he was pretty relentless throughout the game. Carried very well, tackled very well, set piece was pretty solid. So yeah, that's the Jamie George that was in the British Lions series and stuff. He's one of the top hookers in the world when he gets it right, and I thought this weekend he looked close to his best, as did Tinea Tupou, who what a player to watch. Phenomenal in the loose, very solid at scrum time, absolute unit of a man. But has got a fantastic skill set. I mean, we saw him intercept tries, throwing long passes on the break. It was the marauding Tinea Tupou that every team fears. Seeing a tight head prop with that kind of size, that kind of skill set, and that kind of pace is a sight to behold. And he looked really good this weekend. Lots were quite difficult. I've gone with Will Rowlands and Franco Mostert. I thought Mario Tojo was better this weekend, for example. And I thought there were a couple of other locks in and around the games who did stand up. Joe McCarthy, for example, for Ireland, I was very impressed with what I saw from him. I think other locks, for example, Bekatava for Japan had a pretty solid game. It was against Chile, for example. And I suppose that's also kind of comes into it, doesn't it? It's good performances versus weak team versus good performances versus great team. So, for example, Italy had a very good game against Namibia and don't have any players in here, and that was very difficult to try and to do, to be honest. So I've gone with Will Rowlands. Who I think made about 27 tackles, got absolutely everywhere. I think that he's going to be a huge player for Wales. He has hit the cap limits, well, not limit, but prerequisite to be able to play outside of Wales and still play for Wales. So he's going to play for them for many years. We really got to know him quite well last year in the South African series, and I thought that I think he's going to be absolutely world class. And next time, I thought Franco Moss had a brilliant game, and I was glad to see when I was doing my player rating show that a lot of people were agreeing with me. He looks back to the best of me. He carried well. He tackled relentlessly. He's brilliant at the lineouts. Just an absolute workhorse and a great engine getting around that park. The hardest thing for me was the loose trio. I mean, how do you leave out a Peter O'Mahony? How do you leave out a Peter Steph Toy? How do you leave out a Ben Earl, for example? Lorenzo Canoni, one of my favorite players in world rugby at the moment, was absolutely phenomenal against Namibia. There were so many standouts. Francois Croce was good. Charles Olivon was good. That entire French loose trio were very good. Artie Severe was pretty solid. I could name so many other players across the different teams and across the weekend. But I've gone with Courtney Laws, Ty Byrne, and Gregory Eldred, which is maybe not the most balanced loose trio in that you probably have one of a Courtney Laws or a Ty Byrne. But for me, they were just the top performance. I thought Courtney Laws was the Courtney Laws that we haven't seen in the last year. Fronted up physically, got over the advantage line, tackled really well. And I think really sort of galvanized his team when they went down to 40 men. And he's kind of a lead by example type of individual. Doesn't say a lot. He's not incredibly vocal, but he just gets to a lot of work. And then Ty Byrne, I mean, I think in the strongest team he goes to lock, and I think that they can then get a Josh van der Flier into that side with a Peter Omani as well as a Caleb Doris, and it's amazing how good that Irish pack is. But he just looked he was everywhere, absolutely everywhere. One of the best utility forwards in the world at the moment, if not the best. And then Gregory Aldrit gets a shout at 8. Man of the match performance in the World Cup opener, was absolutely everywhere. Pick up and goes, as we know him, carrying the ball well a lot. Very, very good. I thought Lorenzo Canoni was brilliant. I thought Jasper Wies was pretty solid. Benner was very good for England. There were lots of very good individual performances at 8 across the weekend. So that was quite difficult to pick. The South African, or third actually South African that gets into this team is Faf de Klerk. I thought that he managed the game brilliantly. I thought he kicked really well. People don't like it. I think a lot of people don't understand it. And everyone was there saying he just kicks possession away. Any scrum off for South Africa will kick exactly the same amount. And they do tailor-make the game plan according to a scrum off. So they know that he and Jaden Hendricks have got really good box kicking games. Therefore, in games where we need to use that, where that's the tactic that's employed, they will play. But I thought that, his defensively was very good. I thought his distribution was pretty good. I thought he actually did up the ante quite a few times. But his game management, I mean, his 22, his box kicking were always sort of just outside 22, were really, really well weighted. It was giving a lot of opportunity for us to contest and win a lot of that ball back. So I thought on his 50th cap, I thought he had a really, really good outing. And then 10, I got George. You have to go to George Ford. He scored all 27 points, didn't he, for England? I was really, really, really impressed with the Romanian 10, Vivasa. I think he's going to be a very exciting player. Very keen to watch him this weekend. Johnny Sexton looked absolutely effortless in that Ireland game. Finn Russell didn't have the best attacking game because he didn't have a great pack, but I thought his defense was fantastic. I thought Matthias Jalabert had a great game on Friday night. Really, I think silenced a couple of doubters. Not that he really actually silenced a lot of doubters, but so there were lots of very good individual performances at 10, but you've got to give it to the George Ford masterclass, which almost single-handedly winning them the game. I mean, 3 drop goals, missed 1 penalty, it just was absolutely flawless. In terms of the wings, I've gone with Mark Nawangani-Tawase from Australia, who looks the real deal, doesn't he? Absolutely world-class. Scoring tries, competing for the ball, X-Factor type player. Once in a generation player, potentially. Very, very exciting player. And then Damian Peno should have scored 2 tries, maybe a slight error not having the ball in the right hand. It was a great cover tackle, though, from Richie Mwanga. Not the first time he's done it, but finished very well, but always looks very, very dangerous ball in hand. Kurt Lawrence had a good game. Josh Adams, I thought, was fantastic for Wales as well. So there's some very good performances that went across the weekend, but I've gone with those 2. Mark Talea scoring 2 tries. Probably feels a bit robbed. But yeah, I've gone with a lot of different players. In the centres, I've gone with Bandi Aki, who I thought he's my player of the weekend, to be honest. I think him and George Ford are probably, would have been my picks for player of the weekend. I thought that he arrived with an intensity that was unmatched. His running lines, his defense, his attacking impetus. I thought every time he touched the ball, something was happened. And next to him, I've gone with the absolute world-class YC Nathalevu, who is potentially right now the form 13 in the world. I mean, what a performance from the Fijian. It's just he's such an exciting player. It's always something happening with ball in hand. Powerful, captain of Fiji. Almost got them over the line. But 33 years old, coming to the twilight of his career. I mean, he's an absolute unit. He's sort of a 1.93, over 100 kgs. And it was a really nice, very, very good performance from him. Very, very inspirational type player. And he's definitely one to watch out for the rest of the World Cup. And then at fullback, I've gone with Ben Donaldson, which, Thomas Ramos was very good, for example. And in fact, I had a very tough time not picking him. I thought Bowden Barrett actually played very well for New Zealand as well. Hugo Keenan, for example, has always been highly involved in Ireland. I thought the Chilean fullback was very good from what I saw from during that match. I didn't manage to watch them all of it, but when I did watch, I was very impressed with him. But I've gone with Ben Donaldson, who was his first time he actually started at fullback for Australia. Kicked very well for Poles, made such good decisions, which is what Eddie Jones said that is such an exciting thing. Lots of players got the X factor, lots of players have got everything they need to be top players, but don't always have the mentality and the decision-making ability to back that up. He very much does seem to be the real deal. So this young Australian side, yes, against Georgia, so tougher tasks do loom for them. But yeah, lots of very nice individual performances. That's my team. What do you think? Where would you change? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll see you guys all next time.
Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reese. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube.
Hello everybody, Stevie P here from Forever Sports, and I'm here to tell you about BOYLESPORTS, the official betting partner of Forever Sports. Across all of our channels, they are one of the leading betting companies in the world and have recently launched in South Africa with an amazing offering. You can get a 1,000 Rand welcome offer. For the rugby, they are giving you 25% payout boost up to 2,000 Rand on the Springboks winning the World Cup, as well as an extra 50 Rand bet when you stake 250 more on rugby during the Rugby World Cup. It is your one-stop betting shop. That is BOYLESPORTS. Come and join us in the community. Check the links in the description to sign up, get yourself an account, and make sure that you are winning big with BOYLESPORTS. And we are live. Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for today's Rugby World Cup daily news show. And we are officially into week 2 of the Rugby World Cup. And what a week 1 it was. A lot of interesting results. No real upsets, to be honest. So still waiting for that first sort of massive, game. There's always that one game which is like iconic in terms of the upset that happens, stuff like that. So we didn't really have that in that first week, but so maybe we have to wait for the second week. But a couple of very interesting games, as well as some very good performances, and a couple of question marks being raised about some teams, a couple of answers being or questions being answered really by others. So it was an interesting first week, and I think that overall, if you look at the pools and stuff like that, no massive surprises just yet. But I think the main thing is looking at certain teams, and some. I think some teams there are some worries, and some teams are very much put to bed a bit of doubts, or at least sort of given people a bit of a reason for a bit of hope and a bit more sort of optimism maybe going into the second week. I think the likes of England, Australia, for example, 2 teams where people were very iffy about coming into tournaments, both of them getting very important wins over the weekend. Australia, getting that bonus point win. England, really sort of pretty easily in the end, overcoming Argentina. It was a very disappointing performance from Argentina, if we must be brutally honest. Was very much expecting a bit more from Michael Cheika's men. So so basically in the next sort of half an hour, we're going to talk about some of the news that is floating around. We do have confirmation, by the way, that the Springbok team will be announced tomorrow, so we will be live for that as well. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Jesse Kriel incident, which everybody's talking about at the moment. We'll be talking a little bit about the potential planned strikes that are happening in France. We'll give you a couple of updates and just sort of talk a little bit about the weekend and what was interesting and Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport for tonight's game, Ireland versus Tonga, the third and final game of this week, Saturday's the 16th match day. And what a match day it's been. We have seen Samoa enter the tournament with a victory over Chile. We've also then just seen Wales, maybe not at their best, but managing to still get past Portugal with the bonus point. And so business done there. And now we wait to see if Ireland can go as big as they did last week, which I don't think they will. But maybe more importantly, I think, we get to see what this Tongan side can do. And a lot of question marks, a lot of interesting discussions happening regarding this Tongan lineup and just how strong they're going to be. Because with the new eligibility laws, for example, we are seeing a lot more players that have made a switch to go and play for Tonga. So that sort of circumstance, they are a lot stronger on paper. Let's start seeing if that will start to translate into results. Can they become a team that can cause an upset, that can influence tournaments, that is no longer a team that kind of just gets dismissed? I don't think they've ever been dismissed with regards to it being an easy game, but I think they get dismissed as far as it's a game you expect to win. And back in the past, it was a game that you knew was going to be physical, you knew it was a game that was going to be tough, that there might be injuries, but you would always win. That was the kind of thing. They weren't a side that typically could create an upset. And that's what we need to see them become. We want to see teams progress. We want to see teams be able to compete more than just making things tough with regards to maybe taking it 20 minutes or 30 minutes to sort of see the game out before instead of 10 to 15. Because that's the reality. We saw Namibia being absolutely outplayed last night. Portugal putting up a much better fight today. When you look at that result, for example, 28 points to 8 is not massively dominant by Wales. 43-10 by Samoa against Chile was pretty dominant, although I think Chile could have scored more points. I was frustrated. I was actually at the game. So it was a lot of fun. Very cool atmosphere, by the way. I absolutely love the Chilean team and the supporters. Really, really cool game to have been at and very cool team to get behind because, it was an absolutely epic atmosphere. The away support was amazing. It was really cool to see how much the Chile fans are in for rugby and are in to support their team. But tonight, it is all about Ireland and Tonga. And Ireland going with a very strong side, which is quite strange. So I'm going to go to show you the side, and we'll talk a little bit about it afterwards. Because given the fact that we are now sitting second week into the tournament, Ireland do have a very difficult route into the playoffs. To have gone with such a strong side is a very interesting decision for them to take, given the fact that Tonga are a side that is going to be very physical and injuries could potentially be a thing. But let's have a look at the side. And then let's discuss it and see and try to understand exactly why they've got so strong and where I suppose they can get a bit stronger and what the plan is for Ireland for this game, which kicks off in just over 10 minutes. Right, so there it is. So it is a very strong Irish team, pretty much almost full strength. And again, what I was sort of saying is if you look at the Ireland Rugby World Cup, their fixtures, they've got a very, very tough run in because they basically after this they play against South Africa next weekend. Then they have a week off, but then they basically go Scotland, quarters, semis, final. So in the space of South Africa, basically in the space of 5 weeks, they'll be playing, or it's based on 6 weeks rather, they'll be playing 5 games, all potentially against teams within the top potentially 5 in the world. Or 4 out of 5 of those games will be top 5 in the world. Because they're going to South Africa is currently second in the world. They then have a week break. Then they have to play against Scotland, who right now are 5th in the world. And then they'll have to take on quarterfinals. It's going to be either New Zealand or an Ireland. Then potentially in England or Australia. And then potentially South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, France in the final. So it's interesting that they went full strength against Romania to get a bit of a hit out. And if there was going to be one more game for them really to be able to attain, in theory, it should have been this game. Although I suppose if they do beat South Africa, then they are looking pretty good to top the group. Or at least they'll know basically if they're top the group, and they'll kind of know what they need to do against Scotland to be able to determine whether they can rotate or not. So it's a very interesting Irish side, the fact that they have gone so full strength. But yeah, in terms of players to watch for Ireland, or players that I'm watching when it comes to Ireland, I really interested to see how Josh van der Flier goes. Starting, obviously one of the current World Player of the Year. So he's one of the big tournament players you want to watch across the entire tournament. Remember that we're still very early in this tournament. I think that's the big thing. We have had so much rugby. We are only into week 2. And so, for example, this is actually Josh van der Flier's only his first start of the tournament so far. So good to see. It'll be interesting to see how he gets going tonight. Other players I'm really looking forward to watching is Johnny Sexton. Obviously, looked very comfortable last weekend. The question is he back to full fitness? And is he in the best form? He looked very good last weekend, but against Romania. And how much is that going to potentially change tonight, playing against a better side in the form of Tonga? Bundy Aki was a player who I thought was absolutely brilliant last week and very much impressed me. And I think anybody that's sort of keeping Robbie Henshaw on the bench has to be in some pretty good form. And personally, I watched him last week and thought, I haven't seen him play that kind of as good a rugby like that maybe ever. So he's another player I'm keeping my eye on. I was very impressed with him last weekend. And yes, once again, and like I said with a lot of players, it is only Romania, but at the same time, you can only play what's in front of you, and he played what's in front of him very well. Whereas other players didn't necessarily play what's in front of them particularly well. I thought James Lowe last weekend was a bit off. So yeah, Matt Hansen comes into the side ahead of Keith Earls. So it is basically the strongest backline. Jamison Gibson Park ideally probably would be at 9, but not like you're losing out on much quality in the form of Conor Murray, who's a Test Centurion and British and Irish Lion as well. So yeah, and then off the bench, keen to see how Ian Henderson goes. For me, I'm a big fan of Craig Casey, so very keen to see how Craig Casey goes tonight. Ross Byrne coming off at and will get an opportunity there. His first game of the tournament. Robbie Henshaw is an absolute world-class player as well. We've got just 3 minutes to go until the kickoff. So before we start looking at the Tongan team and sort of who to look out for when it comes to them, please start getting your score predictions into the comments as well. Let me know where you guys are watching from, who you're supporting as well. I want to know who you guys are backing and where you guys are, who you guys would like to, who you'd like to see to win tonight. How much of a chance does Tonga have? For example, do they have any sort of chance? We've got a poll running in the comments, so you can go and vote and let us know exactly how much of a chance you think they have. And look, it's not as, it's Ireland's sitting with 75%, so there is apparently still 25%, which is still up for grabs with regards to potential other results, and that being split between a draw and a loss. So, yeah, let's start getting your score predictions in. And let me know again. Let me know who you're supporting. Can the Tongan side give them a go? Which Tongan players are you looking forward to? For me, for example, it's Vai Fafita. Brilliant player, and I think that he's set to have a pretty big World Cup as well. So very excited to see what he can do. Let's have a look at the Tongan side, and it's a very interesting Tongan side. And hopefully they're going to put in quite a big showing this evening. So if we look at it, it is Siegfried Fissihoy in the number 1 jersey. He's next to Paul Ngama and Ben Talmifanua. It's a big pack. I was looking at it last night when I was doing the preview, and some very, very big boys in this Tongan pack that are going to make things very, very interesting for Ireland, because it's not a pack that's ever going to get run over and really bullied, is it? You know, you're talking about players who are well over 100 kgs, for example, almost all of them. Include the backline in that. I think there's only 3 players in the entire Tongan 15 that weigh in under like 100 kgs. So that's how big of a side they physically are. And I think, you know, a lot of it comes down to front row. You know, set piece is a huge thing. All the best teams in the world attack from set piece, and the better the set piece is, the more chance you have of really being able to disrupt your opposition's position and to really attack them as well. Which is going to be very interesting to see how Tonga actually try and do that. Because you've got to try and nullify this Irish attack, and I think that if they get clean front foot ball, we've seen how they've got so many runners running on the shoulders of Johnny Sexton, for example. You know, really sort of attacking the space, that they can become a handful very quickly and are very difficult to keep up with them. So it is an area where I do think that Tonga are going to have to now match up, or else they could be in a lot of trouble. If we look at, so I was bringing up the team here in a moment. So I want to tell you exactly how big some of these players are, and give you guys an idea of the sort of the pack battle that we do have ahead of us. So here we go. So it is in the second row. It is, by the way, Tamufuna, the tight head, will be captaining the side. 151 kg he weighs in at. Sam Lowsey and Helafeda Fafita comes in at 4 and 5. In the back row, it is Tanjanoi Halofanua, Sione Taluti, and Vaya Fafita in that back row. Plenty of experience. Not the youngest team, this Tongan side. William Havili, actually the youngest player, coming in at 25 years old. But that back row has got plenty of experience with them. And watch out for Halafanua, he's a bit of a smaller player, but a bit of a live wire type flank. Gets around the park very well as well. Then if you look at the back line, Augustine Pulu, William Havili, the halfback pairing. Then we've got Solomon Carter, who weighs in 104 kgs, big wing. What's a World Cup without a big Samoan or a big Tongan wing who just goes absolutely rampaging through half the teams? Peter Aki at 12, next to Malachi Fekitoa, who goes in at 13 today. Apasipa Tomipur at 14, and Selesi Piatau, absolute world-class player, at 15. Keen to see exactly how he goes as well. And yeah, it's I mean, those are some of their big players. You know, your Fekitoa and Piatau are 2 of the players really to watch tonight. We're talking about players who have played in some of the best leagues in the world, and players who are world class and could probably get into most teams, to be honest. You look at somebody like Puto, and he's currently playing for the Bristol Bears, for example. He's he actually played for New Zealand for the Sevens team back in the day. Played for the All Blacks about 17 times. Has played all around the world, and an absolute world-class player. So watch out for him. He's definitely a player to watch tonight. But yeah, we've got the hands on the ball of the Tongans. Wayne Barnes, our referee, in tonight, and we will have kickoff in just a few moments. So your last opportunity to get your comments into the chat, and let me know who you, once again, we do have kickoff there, and I'm playing in their white jersey, by the way, playing right to left as Conor Murray goes back to Johnny Sexton, and it's an early carry for Tyke Byrne, who's gone back into that second row where he's a bit more accustomed to these days. He plays a lot of rugby there for Ireland to try and make way for that brilliant back row. He's such a versatile player, as Tyke Byrne was absolutely brilliant on the flank last week, and all of a sudden will do duty in the number 4 jersey today. So very much a player that can sort of play anywhere. We're looking at some of the comments over here. I'm seeing Carter Paul saying from Aranya, Burton saying Burton signing in from Pretoria. Good to see Wes in the chat saying Ireland front row is over 400 kgs. Doing the quick maths there is our man Wes, and yeah, it's huge. As I said, it goes 125 kgs, 122 kgs, 151 kgs. So it is a large pack from Tonga. Early penalty there from Ireland as Johnny Sexton does find touch. And yeah, offside there. So the early set piece here for Ronan Kelleher to try and sort of settle into things. And look, Peter Marnie's doing a lot of work there, but it will go to James Ryan in the second row there. Johnny Sexton giving away to Bundyaki. Goes nice and short. Good work there in the centres. But they've lost the ball forward there. So Tonga, turnover ball you have for Tonga. Bit of space down this right-hand side here. But I think the forward pass, Wayne Barnes is going to bring them all the way back. Catcher had actually been battled into touch, but we're going to come back for the original iron knock-on. Tautai Kefu, the coach of Tonga, watching on. Pretty nice shirt actually from the Tongans. Nice colour. Not that there's much to the shirt itself, but yeah, as I was at the Chile game earlier, and that shirt is absolutely beautiful. Very much on my purchase list if I can try and justify the spending. There we go. Look at the pack weights there. 953 kgs are the Tongans. 893 are the Irish. So I mean, yeah. I mean, how often do you see Ireland or a team that has 50 odd kgs on Ireland? Which, when you look to the like of Tyke Furlong, he's 125 kgs. Andrew Porter's not a small boy. James Ryan weighs more than 120 kgs. It's impressive. But if I for Peter, Caelan Doris, there's a 13 kgs difference there. And basically the big thing with Tongans is if you look at like player by player, almost every single Tongan player is heavier than their Irish counterparts. So it's a big pack, and it's been their first scrum with as Augustine Pulu's got the ball in his hand, and it's a free kick. Ireland being a little bit over-eager then going through, so free kick here for Tonga. They'll enjoy that. They'll appreciate that. Decision time. Let's take another scrum here. So the captain, Tamapuna, deciding that he reckons he can have a go. Yeah, I suppose it's nice on having 155 kg tight head. He has one look at Andrew Porter and said, no. You came early, you're a bit over eager. Come back down, yeah, and let's see what you can do. Yeah, I want to see what you can do. I want to see if you can cope with me. This time there is a set and there's an engagement. And pops it up. Really good move there. Oh, final offload just not going to pass. I think it's Vekatoi's been caught right up against the touchline. They go back inside though, and it's the big man for Peter. Hello, Lavia. That one is number 5. There are 2 for Peters into the starting lineup. Hello, Lavia, Peter, and Vi for Peter. And penalty there for Ireland. I think it's for sealing off or going beyond the breakdown there. So it will be a change in Boya before Johnny Sexton kicks for touch. A very stern-looking Andy Farrell watches on, and he'll be expecting a lot of big things from his team. Right, Ronan Kelleher. Just outside the 22, goes to the front, gets a good there from James Ryan, goes short to Conor Murray, and Bundy Aki back on the angle. Playing against some of his countrymen, Bundy Aki, so it's a very important game that he wants to play. Now Conor Murray looking to up the ante here, Ireland, and to go into the 22. Out on the left-hand side. The ball's coming loose. But it's still Ireland. Now Conor Murray goes. Bundy Aki. Just outside the 22 on the left-hand side. Conor Murray goes back towards the right. Tyke Byrne. And they've come over there, Tonga, but illegally so, and they have been penalised for it. Wayne Barnes not impressed with that, with how they won that ball back. And they're going to take the points here. Oh, Ireland, thank you very much. I'm going to get my kicking boots on. Call to the tee, and he's going to look to add the 3 here and get the scoreboard ticking, which is probably a good idea early on in the game. What do we think about Johnny Sexton, by the way? I thought he looked very, very good last weekend. Looked like he had been playing for a while, but didn't look like he was rusty at all. Has had a lot of training to get to this stage. His swan song, really, what has been a pretty brilliant career. And, yeah, playing what could be one of the last few games, obviously, of that illustrious career. Would love to add a World Cup to that tally of trophies he's won. But a long way to go before he can manage to do that. It's just on the 22 on the left-hand side, yeah, so a couple of steps there. Johnny Sexton puts that through. So very good work from him. Right, 3 points to 0. Good start from Ireland. Really look pretty industrious with ball and once they got to the 22, and they're always so dangerous, and they do make it count. They've got a very, very good conversion rate. With regards to when they get into the 22 and actually scoring some points. Daniel Allen said, stay Ireland rely on biased refereeing and Tonga getting yellow cards. I don't think they need to worry about the referee for the victory. I think they're good enough to be able to win without any sort of sketchy decisions, for example. But a good take there from Bandiaki. Just outside the 20, inside the 22, goes back to 26. 26 and shifting across to Ty Byrne, looking to run it out of their own 22 here. Now eventually go to James Lowe, and you can tell James Lowe that big thumping left boot. Now down the right hand side, you go Tonga. It's a really, really good carry there from Putau. Now the captain, Tamafuna. Peter going short there. Ball's coming loose though, and Josh van der Vleers jumped all over it. Turnover ball on the halfway line, quick ball near for Ireland, and they do fly out towards Ty Byrne. He goes to Andrew Porter. Andrew Porter has made hard in the tackle there, and they're desperately trying to turn it over at Tonga, but it is available with Conor Murray. Goes on the right-hand side this time. Just back on the inside. That's the biggest problem with Ireland. You never really know where the point of contact is going to be. They do shift it inside and out so well. Now, Conor Murray's almost been caught on the ball a little bit, and they win a penalty eventually. I think the initial counter-ruck was okay before Wayne Barnes then saying that he was then offside. Johnny Sexton not wasting any time there. He's looking to really find touch quite quickly. Yeah, it's really, really sloppy in the end there from Losi. Yeah, but there's the early indication. You do not give Putau space. He's a world-class player, and he's going to be very dangerous with the ball in hand. Something that they need to monitor quite closely. Peter Marnie goes up and comes down, gives it up to Ronakele, who wraps it up, and Randy Aki comes back on the angle. Driving hard in the tackle, struggling to carry there from the inside centre. Now, big hit on Caelan Doris. A couple of Tongan players trying to come through that ruck. Conor Murray, the ball's been left behind and almost turned over by Peki Toa. Knock on is the course, ball's back towards the side of the Tongans. Goes to the left boot there, tips it over the top, and Mac Hansen's having to scramble back. Yeah, hasn't done anything. That's a great kick as well. It does run into touch. So it'll be all the way just outside the 22. It'll be an island line out, but really, really good work. Forcing the turnover, chipping behind. It's a great kick in behind as well. Mac Hansen, by the way, just out there quickly and gone to the boot. So he's decided, no, not happening. He's kicked into space, actually. I tell you what, and he's coming all the way across here. That could be a 50-22. That, in fact, I think it is a 50-22. I mean, it's absolutely dreadful covering from Havili, who's blasting his teammates. But I'm pretty sure it is a 50-22. That is brilliant for Mac Hansen. He saw the space. It initially looked like he was going to try and find touch. Ball came inside, and there was absolutely nobody home. Havili was trying to get across there, but maybe a little bit lackadaisical as well. And all he could do was really watch the ball run out past 22, which means that Ryan Kelleher goes to right James Ryan. And they go short to Mac Hansen. Breaks 2 to bring him down. Quick ball there. Ty Byrne. Solid tackle coming for him. And William Avili working really hard on the ground. And penalty. Gets the penalty. That's very, very good work. Initially was worried that Peter Aki wasn't going to be able to roll away. But Ty Byrne was well met in the tackle. And then William Avili, the fly of all people, getting over that ball, forcing the turnover. And Tonga doing pretty well. Just disrupt Ireland a little bit. And every single time Ireland looked like they're getting a little bit of momentum. Just be able to fit some sort of turnover. Now you can see the 25-year-old ball in hand there. Getting a bit of assistance as well. Yeah, really good awareness for back Hansen there. Just realized the Tonga had switched off. Took the hood out quickly to himself and then hammered it over. But it will be a Tongan ball. And the Ga'amo will be the man to throw it in. They go to the front of the line. It's Fafita, but the ball's been lost forward. And Ty Furlong the ball people will come away with it. Conor Murray going to Callum Doris. So, okay, from the number 8 there. Conor Murray going to Johnny Sexton. Johnny Sexton wanted it. Looking for the wraparound. And there's Bundy Aki. Sexton's been taken off the ball there. Conor Murray. And whoever did take out Sexton has stayed down as well. James Lowe right up against the touchline. Throws it back inside. And Hugo Keenan's been bundled into touch. Very good work there from Malachi Fekitoa. But we're going to have to go back because one of the Tongan players who I think could come up early to try and make that read on Johnny Sexton didn't receive the ball back, making the hit. He stayed down. I think it could be via Fafita as well, which would be absolutely devastating for Tonga if it is. Looking at this line still there. So straight through the hands of Fafita. Ololeba. Fafita that is. Number 5 is supposed to buy Fafita. I'm pretty sure is the player that's down over here, receiving a lot of treatment. There the Irish fans packed into the stadium there. It is Fafita who's receiving treatment, and he's such an important player. Probably the most important player, if you ask me. Next to the likes of Malachi Fekitoa and next to the likes of a Charles Putau. But he's walking back to his teammates, so it should be okay to continue with Fafita. As I said, such an important player. And those important players in important positions. You know, you're 13, you're 8, you're 15. And he looks okay to continue. The absolute colossus of a man is Fafita. He stands at 196, but weighs in at 116 kg. And not a slouch by any means. Great skill set as well. He has it all, really. But they're going back with penalty to Ireland. And Johnny Sexton will find touch. Looks like it's just outside of 22. So far, 78% possession for Ireland, just 22% for Tonga. So that's a start. The Tongas will want to start changing. James Ryan once again goes out, comes down, looking for the rolling maul this time on Ireland. Kelly eventually gets the ball back, and he does break away slightly. So not the best rolling maul there from Ireland, but they have found a couple of yards. Now Sexton swings it out to James Lowe. James Lowe right up against the touchline, does manage to stay in, but a lot of Tongan players there trying to get the ball on their hat. They do get, I think, and win the penalty as well. So it's another breakdown penalty from Tonga. And it's the big wing that celebrates in Solomon Kata. Yeah, it comes back inside as Kata, and him and Pulu getting all over James Lowe and winning that breakdown penalty. It's another breakdown penalty. As I said, so Tonga doing very well here to survive. It's a lot of Irish pressure, a lot of Irish attack, But Tonga at the moment doing very well just to disrupt things and just cause a bit of a turnover when they've needed it so far. The question is, can they do that for 80 minutes? Hearing that 5 feet has gone down once again, so this would be a big blow. I think they're going to have to run a sub here. Yeah, nice line down fully. So I think you have to run a sub here at Tonga, which is, as I said, if you had to pick a player that you didn't want to lose in the pack, 5 feet would probably be the number one choice. Very cool, couple of very cool scrum maps looking over here. Some conversations from Malachi Fekitoa and a couple of other players. What a player, by the way, Fekitoa. One of my favorite players to watch when he's playing well. Former All Black. And you can see that's the tackle there. You can see as he lands, really. It's very, very awkward on the ankle for Fafita. And it just twists. It doesn't look good at all. But he's going to try round off again, but I think this is a matter of time really before Fafita gets subbed. Yeah, he's going to keep having a go, but I don't see him lasting particularly long. Still doesn't look particularly happy, and they go up towards the halfway line. It will be a lineup for Tonga. And Fafita, I mean, why would you call a lineup on the guy who's got a struggling ankle? But he got up and got down well, so at least I suppose that's a good sign. Slow ball this year for Tonga. Pulu taking his time here, looking for the box kick. Pulu goes high in the air, a couple of chases underneath it. And that's a really well taken. I think it was Peter Marnie who took that eventually. So turnover ball, yeah, Caden Doris. And penalty for offside for Tonga. So Ireland discipline. It's against Peter Marnie of all players. He looks a little bit bewildered and not particularly impressed. But obstruction is the call. And I'll tell you what, this Tongan side, I'll be giving quite a few opportunities here from Ireland. We've got about 4 to 5 maybe back-to-back penalties, a couple of breakdown penalties, an offside penalty, an obstruction penalty. So pretty ill-disciplined so far. And they have called for the shot here. So William Havili's going to have a go. It's a bit more difficult than Johnny Sexton. It's about 22 meters inside the field from the right-hand side, halfway between the 10 meter and the halfway line. So probably about 46, 47 meters on the angle. And it's lazy walking, and Peter Marty just comes across here and blocks a Tongan player. That is what he's been penalised for. Right, William Avili looking to square things up after 15 minutes. Liam say, I'm trying to get the full game, but I don't have a card in for free without signing it for any ideas. You're just going to have to look at where your local broadcast is. So I'm not sure you are. It's a great kick, by the way. Left-footed from Havili, and they go straight down the middle. So 3 points to 3 is the score after 16 minutes. The Tongan fans, of which there look like quite a few there. Very chuffed for life at the moment. Long may that continue for them, I suppose. Jody Sexton with the restart. Looking shit like he's going to go down the right-hand side. Does go down the right-hand side. Goes pretty far as well. As the penalty converter, William Havili, who does fine touch. Rabi gets touchdown as well. This time it doesn't look like Ireland will look to take quickly. It's Hugh Keenan, who's happy not to. That's a great kick there from Havili. That's a good. That's perfect from Tonga, really. Get the 3 points, stop the 3 points, deep restart from Ireland. The first thing you do is put them back on their 20 on their halfway line. Ireland have to restart, but you've leveled the scores, and all of a sudden you'll feel that momentum will be a little bit more with you than with them. 6 lines, 1 so from Ireland, just the 1 from Tonga. This goes to the front of the line to Peter O'Mahony. He wins it well as Sexton hammers it out towards Bandiaki. Quick ball from Conor Murray. Looks to go to the boot. Does go to the boot. Tight burn as well. As I think James Lowe chasing is too far though. And Sharp has been knocked forward. And oh my goodness, Mac Hansen. It's going to go over the corner. It's going to be Andrew Porter. Well, hello, Matt Hansen. That is brilliant. Andrew Porter goes over. The first try of the match. Dreadful, dreadful handling. We're going to have to go back and see who it is that's dropped this ball. I mean, I was saying it was too far, the 22. The marker's going to be called. It's going to be pretty straightforward. And all of a sudden, ball comes loose, and Matt Hansen, from off the ground, I think threw his legs backwards, straight into the hands of, I don't think it was 200 Porter just yet, who then popped the 200 Porter, and off he went. So it's Ty Byrne, Matt Hansen, that's all chasing. Ball pops up. Matt Hansen pops it. I think it actually is to the hands of Andrew. Oh, it's really, really poor. It's such quick thinking. Ty Byrne, he does go to Ty Byrne, then away to Andrew Porter. Andrew Porter looks to his left, looks to his right, sees he's got nobody in front of him. They are going to have a look, though. They are going to have a look. Wayne Barn wants to check something here. I'm not sure what they're checking, but they are having a check. So it looks like Mac Hansen knocks it on before his brilliant. It'll pop up to Ty Byrne. Nope, try is disallowed. It will be a scrum. So Mac Hansen knocking it forward. And Andrew Porter thought he had a World Cup try. Will now have to come back for a scrum up against the very large Tongan captain. So not having a good time there, Andrew Porter. Alden Emerald saying, come on, lads. Quite a pause saying, come on, Tonga. Yeah, as I said, Hansen just knocking it forward there before flicking it up into the hands of Ty Byrne. Pretty solid scrum. It is an island scrum, though. The initial knock-on for us from Tonga. Like Connor Murray goes to the left. Goes himself. Looking for off. Gets it away to Gary Ringrose, who's just short. Now the ball's popped up. I don't think forward. Turnover ball here for Tonga. Via Fafita, I think, comes away with it. And then he loses it forward. The double knock-on. First one coming from Tonga, so it will be a Tongan scrum. Great work there. Conway showing the dummy. Good support play there for Gary Ringrose. Just short. And then comes the knock on there from Hugo Keenan. Right, so scrum on the 5-meter line. You have a Tonga defensive scrum here. They're about 2 meters right of the poles. And there's nothing fancy really. This is about anchoring, getting that ball to the back and finding a good clearance. Pretty straightforward exit in theory here from Tonga. 3 points apiece after 20 minutes. Been a pretty steady game so far. Ireland have been with all the attacking. Tonga really much holding on at the moment, I think is probably the correct term to use. But Carter says supporting Tonga from Shannon. And yeah, well, let me know who you guys are supporting. Let me know who you're backing. And let me know how we're feeling about tomorrow. Are we excited? Are we nervous? What is the chat? South Africa versus Romania. Can't wait to go. There should be a great game. A lot of build-up stuff coming as well. We're going to be doing fan cams outside the stadium, inside the stadium, before, after the game. We hope you get some mixed zone interviews as well for you guys. So hopefully getting a lot of that content tomorrow at the game. But before that, we're going to see if Tonga can surprise Ireland a little bit. It's a looking scrum there from Ireland. But pops up. And Pulu, that's not a brilliant kick from him. Only finds as far as just outside the 22. So still very much on the attack here. Will Ireland be? Okay, here. Primary long pass out towards Bundy Aki. Bundy Aki going. Gary Ringrose shows and goes himself. Quick ball here from Murray to Sexton. Throws it back inside. It's a brilliant line being run by James Brown. Kevin Dawes. Inside ball. Ty Byrne. Over. Tyburn cannot stop scoring. He's too good. He's too good. It's Johnny Sexton with that inside ball, that devastating inside ball. And I think it's Kellen Doris, or it could have been James Ryan, who ran that inside line that Sexton found. But it's so well coordinated. And that's the biggest problem with Ireland, is you never know. We talked about the point of contact. You never know where the ball's going to be. So all of a sudden, look all for certain that they'll go down the right-hand side. But for that ball back inside from Johnny Sexton, it's a great line being run. Yeah, Kellen Doris, I think it is the man that makes the break there. Absolutely brilliant. So Johnny Sexton, he fires it back on the inside, gets past Fafita, pops it to Tyburn. He's got Kelleher as company, actually, and gets brought down just before. All he does is wait, bounce once or twice, places the ball, does Tyburn. Johnny Sexton adds the extras. 10 points to 3 after 22 minutes. And Tyburn's brilliant World Cup campaign start has just gotten a little bit better. Lloyd saying go Tonga. Alton Emerald saying yes. And Daniel Adams saying that's poor from Tonga, wide open. They're shocking. Yeah, you can see that the line was being run, and yeah, the defense so busy shifting towards the left, it didn't account for an inside run on the right. We are going to have a break and play. Yeah, water breaks are in effect throughout the entire weekend. Just by the way, it is very warm here. To be fair, I was talking about it last night on the stream, and I was just saying that. That I can very much understand the water breaks, because yeah, it's warm here. I was at I'm completely sunburned. I don't know how red I'm looking on the stream, but I was in the sun today in the photography section for Samoa versus Chile, and I'm absolutely roasted. Alan says, seem to be finding a way through Tonga's defense the past 5 minutes. Yeah, again, it's the island attack is always so multi-dimensional, really. Multifaceted, I think, is probably the right way of putting it. You never know what's going on. I mean, Sexton, for example, that inside ball, the outside ball, the pop on the shoulder. He's always got 2 or 3 runners on the shoulder, and there's always options. And to try and make that defensive read can be very difficult at times, as Tonga have a bit of a reset. Not the worst time for a reset. They're not out of the game by any means. It's just a 7-point game after 22 minutes. They were doing very well initially at just causing a couple of disruptions here and there. So as we move to a break, I've got an opportunity to shout out our partners, BOYLESPORTS as well as BITDEFENDER, who are helping us power our World Cup coverage. BOYLESPORTS is a world-class sports betting network, and you can go and bet on your favorite games and win big. Go and check out the link in the description. They've got a couple of price boosts for the weekend. Chris Rowe, our betting tips expert, gives us a couple of picks on a Thursday and a Friday. He's on a pretty good run at the moment as well. So go get yourself a BOYLESPORTS account so that you can get involved in all of that action. And then you can get world-class leading cybersecurity with BitDefender, which includes a world-class VPN, for example, and full tailor-made cybersecurity solutions. Multiple awards that they've won over the years, and they're making sure that all of our systems are not compromised. Make sure that none of your personal stuff is compromised by either you or the business with BitDefender, who offer truly world-class cybersecurity. Once again, link in the description. Please go and show some love and support for our partners. The more that they support, the more you guys support them, the more they'll support us, and the better the channel and the coverage we can give you can be. The restart here from Tonga. They go down the left-hand side, does William Mbedi with that left boot, and eventually I think it's Conor Murray who comes onto it. James Lowe with that left boot. And hangs it high in the air. He's not found touch though. Putau will have a run in here. It gets away from one. This is so dangerous. Spins back inside. Always seems to make a meter or two. And a penalty here for Tonga as well for not running away. So an opportunity for them to apply some pressure of their own. But once again, Charles Putau, who he's got the dancing feet. He's electric with ball in hand. Andrew Porter, the man that's been penalised. They take the 3 points here at Tonga, try and bring themselves within 4 points. Avili hit a very nice 3-pointer earlier, so I like the confidence of backing him. And this is, as I said, it's World Cup rugby, Test match rugby. You take the points on offer, and I think Tonga. Whenever you're looking for an upset, it's about staying in touch, isn't it? You know, it's about making sure that you don't go away. And so, getting your 3 points, keeping that scoreboard ticking. That's just a small way that you can just keep yourself in the hunt. And that's all you want to do. You want to just keep yourself in the hunt the entire time. And yeah, when you get towards the end of the game, anything can happen. But if you're out of the hunt and if you're not keeping up with things, then you don't have a chance. And he has absolutely nailed that, by the way, Hasafili. That's a brilliant kick from him. 10 points to 6. What a game we've got in our hands at the moment. Tonga going toe-to-toe with Ireland. That's a good take for Fafita, who looks okay for now, which is good for them. Tamafune, the big prop. Under a lot of pressure there from Ireland, but doing well to make a few yards. They've exited the safety of the 22, so Pulu needs to hang this high in the air, give his chasers a bit of a chance. He does just that. And Tamipio gets a great take, though, from Hugo Keenan. He's so good in the air. Conor Murray firing it out. So carry there from, I think it's Tyke Furlong. A little chip over the top. They bounce the ball. And eventually it's Fafita who takes it into contact. Turnover ball here for Tonga. Falls back to Avili. Long pass out wide towards Feki Toe. Not too many options, so he decides to go to the boot. James Lowe covering well. He's got a bit of time there. Inside this 22. Looking for touch now is James Lowe. Won't find it. And a penalty for Ireland. And I think it's for offside. It is for offside. So that's really, really poor from Ireland and for Tonga. And they're given the penalty on the 22, basically. Sure, we've always for. He raised his hand, apologized as someone know Katai, but I don't quite know what they've done. I'm looking for a replay here. So he's taking out James Lowe. That's why. So the penalties from where the ball landed. Intelligent little chip at the top there from Connie. But that's really, really poor there from Solomine Kata. There's just no need for it. He goes off his feet trying to charge it down. He collides with James Lowe, and the penalties where the ball lands, and then they can kick it even further. So a bit of a good set move there from the Maul. They've changed the point of direction. Kellen Doris, Ronan Keller here controlling things at the back, passing it to Kellen Doris himself. So it's James Ryan that they shifted to. Working hard, over the thing, and try time. What a move that was. Premeditated. Well set up, well executed. Caden Doris, the man who goes over. James Ryan, the man that actually, yeah, so it was a good take. I think it was Peter Mani went up, came down, tripped the point of contact to Caden Doris, set up the rolling more, recycled, sorry, to James Ryan, set up the more, recycled it back towards Caden Doris, and Tonga just really couldn't get themselves lined up here. You can see James Ryan absolutely powering it there. James Van der Vlier working hard. Ty Byrne clearing a bit of a space, as well as Peter Armani. And eventually it's Caden Doris who just rips the ball away and manages to get over for Ireland's second try of the match. And unfortunately for Samoa, I suppose, for Tonga rather, it's kind of 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Got the penalty, brought themselves within 4, but some pretty bad discipline is now allowed Ireland to 22. They've taken the chance, and Johnny Six has got an opportunity to make the 17 points to 6. Johnny Six from about 10 meters inside the field. 76% probability apparently. 43-degree angle. 40 meters is the distance. There's 21 seconds left on the shot clock. Just wants to start this on the right and bring it in slightly. I reckon that right and upright will be his target point. It started on that right and upright, and it comes in slightly. That is exactly what he would have wanted to do. It's a brilliant kick from Johnny Sexton. He's absolutely world class off the tee is Sexton, and he's added the extras, made it a 17 points 6 game, 11 points the difference, and Ireland are starting to settle into the game. Right, the restart here from Mavidi. Shaped up to go down the right. Does go down the right. Towards Bandiaki. Puts his head down. Runs into Fafita. Right, Conor Murray goes to boot. He's been charged down as Conor Murray, though. And it falls back to Peter O'Mahony. He's desperately trying to throw it back inside. Goes back to Conor Murray. He's been brought down by his opposite number. And then a little bit of pressure off the kickoff. Now James Ryan just trying to create a bit of an angle here for Conor Murray, who will try not to be charged down a second time. In fact, it wouldn't be surprised if this one goes back to the pocket. No, he will take it on himself, will Conor Murray. This time, no mistake. Well, he doesn't find touch. Putau gets over Hugo Keenan, but falls the wrong way. And Andrew Porter is there. And Andrew Porter has won the penalty. I mean, that's really poor from Tonga. He was so isolated there, was Putau. And it's just, where's the support? I mean, he's making up ground. He does very well once again, does the number 15, but just no support around him when he lands. And Andrew Porter has got a free go at that. And Andrew Porter is not a small man. So if you give him an inch, he'll take it very, very easily. And that's exactly what just happened. He's completely isolated. Havili eventually there. Pulu there as well. Not players you really want. You don't really want your 9 and 10 there as at the right time. So maybe slightly guilty running away from his support there was Putau. Ball over the top though, but then Josh van der Fleer comes away with it eventually. Wasn't the plan, but it did bounce up quite nicely for the flanker, who's brought down just outside the 22. Conor Murray goes to Kellen Doris. Now, again, Ringrose back on the angle. Ty Burn, thought about the inside ball, decides to go himself. Now, Sexton popping it up to Hugo Keenan comes again, but gets involved. Turnover ball though for Tonga. Ball comes a bit loose there. Fakitoa, good hands. Now the kick comes ahead. And there's nobody home, but he's kicked it out on the full. That's so poor. That's Kata there, who's just trying to... If it stayed in as well, it could have been very interesting. It's a great read there. And a great turn. I mean, that's world class. From the big man as well, Losi got over that ball very quickly and just pickpocketed it. But then, trying to go touch, said Solomone Kata, and just got it very wrong. Kicked straight into touch, and then all of a sudden, Ireland go from losing the ball, turning the ball, to having it back with the set piece just outside the 22. They go to Peter O'Mahony. He's always a safe option in the line-out. Ronan Keller ahead, controlling things at the back. Looking to try and get a run on here is Ireland. They made a meter or two, but now Conor Murray does come to fetch. Once at the corner, but now starting to get a little momentum here, Ireland. James Lowe down the blind side. Johnny Sexton on the first receiver on the right-hand side there. Conor Murray's looking to use it. Eventually does. Fires out to Bundyaki. Bundyaki shows and goes himself. Now Sexton goes short to Ringrose. Murray goes left this time. Going to Andrew Porter. Shaped to pass. Went himself. Good hands. Peter O'Mahony giving away to Ty Burn. Ty Burn on the wing. Comes back inside. The big ball carrier takes a few people to bring him down. Ronan Kelly here this time. Carrying it up. Now Conor Murray to Johnny Sexton. Bundyaki. Good hands. Long pass side right onto the bounce to Matt Hansen. Comes back inside. He still goes Matt Hansen. Matt Hansen, stop it. He's gone all the way. He's over. He is devastating. He is absolutely devastating. And how he's managed to come inside there and go over. I mean, he must have beaten at least 4 or 5 Tongan players. Barely a celebration as well. The Australian-born fly with the scrum cap. Loves scoring tries for Ireland. He loves to make sure he coordinates the scrum cap with his jersey. And that is an absolute brilliant try. He still had so much to do. Ball on the bounce. Steps back on the inside. Gets away from 2-3 players. Let's see how many players he beats in the end. Bang. Inside. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5 he carries over. Look at the step here. It's a great pass here. Big hit on Keenan from Fekitoa. Gary Ringrose getting that pass out. Bang. Inside 1. Bang. Inside 2. And then bang. Swerves inside 1, 2 again. And then over. Hugo Keenan. 4 players beaten. Far too easy. Far, far, far too easy. $22 to 6. This is now where Ireland are starting to settle in. This could start getting a bit messy if they don't manage to sort of put a plug on this now. And Johnny Sexton, no issues whatsoever. They go straight down the middle of the park. So 24 to 6 as we draw towards the final 6 minutes of the half. And Ireland really starting to kick into gear here. It's great hands. It's great hands. Fecky Toa makes that read on Hugo Keenan, but it's in a huge tackle. But his ball's long gone. And Gary Ringrose realizing the space. Those out. It wasn't the best pass to McCann. Still had so much to do. 4 defenders beaten. Back on the inside. Over he goes. Thank you very much, he says. And 18 points the lead now. Right, Tonga really needs to respond here. It's been one-way traffic in the last 10 minutes. Kind of Murray underneath it, looking for options. Goes to Bandiaki. Almost a bit forward, actually, Bandiaki. Bandiaki almost through. Now Conor Murray going to the boot. Not looking to find a touch. Gets the good carry from him once again. Now, numbers here for Tonga. The chip through goes off the boot. It's the right idea. Drawn pass, the good idea. And the final kick in there coming from Salamone Kata. Sorry, rather from Tuamapia coming off the boot. I think of Hansen. So it will be a Tonga ball. Really, they're having a conversation, having a bit of a chat. They just need to get the ball to the back line a little bit more. I mean, the forwards and the captain, Tamafuna, are getting a bit of a treatment. The big man, 151 kgs of him. That's going to take a lot to lug that around a rugby field. But just under 5 minutes left. It's an 18-point game. A couple of Tongan players warming up. Vai Fafita, surprised to manage to last this long. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes back out after the break and whether that ankle injury has settled or whether it's still going to give him a bit of bother. But if Tonga are trying to give themselves a chance, very, very important that they have to score before half-time. Big carry this from him. Initial tackle from Ty Byrne, and then Ty Furlong takes some surge exception and comes hammering into the big tight head. Tight head on tight head action, yeah. And he is okay to continue as the Tongan captain, from the looks of it. It will be a Tongan line-out, so still on the front foot here. The men in red. Fita goes up and goes straight through his hands and falls back to Ronan Kelly, who does very well. It's turnover ball. Yeah, sloppy from Tonga. And immediately, Conor Murray will go to the boot, puts it high in the air. But Mac Hansen's after it, the try scorer. It's a good chase. It's a really good chase. Under a lot of pressure. He deals with it pretty well, though, in the end, though. Does Tamu Pio. Big counter-attack as well here from Ireland. And the ball pops out loose. And they win a penalty to Ireland. Relentless. Absolutely relentless at the breakdown. They were a bit sloppy in the first 10 minutes of the breakdown. Ireland conceded a few penalties, or rather Tonga won a few penalties at the breakdown. And since then, it's been far better contested. Andrew Porter's won a penalty on the ground. I think he actually might have been involved in that as well. And now Tonga guilty a little bit of not looking after their ball. Needs to just sort of step it up a little bit. As Johnny Sexton goes to the corner once again. Not looking for 3-pointers here, Ireland. They got 3 tries. They'll give you that bonus point already. We're going to get to those 4 tries. And onto the 5-meter line, the Irish go. So the 5-meter line, expected points is 3.22. That is just calculated on the average points per visit for 22. They go short, goes good. Goes short, and I think Havili has he done that? Has he? Nope, that he has. He has. Oh, the fly half of all people getting underneath Ronan Kelleher and holding it up. Really good work there from him. Kelleher looked certain that he was going to score. It was a brilliant carry. It was a great piece of effort there from Ronan Kelleher, which is only matched by the brilliant effort of David Havili, or William Havili rather, who's held it up. And he will be the man that will take the goal line dropout as we go into the final 3 minutes of the first half. Kellen Doris, he's running up to full steam. Who wants him? Who wants him? And it's the scrum off of all people. You get up nice and quickly and it's the tackle. Not the best pass. As Ireland try and get back on the front foot. 10 metre line on Sexton goes through. Ringrose has made the break. He's got options. He's got options. And Johnny Sexton has gone over. Brilliant work from the captain. Look what it means to him. Ireland in full force there. The Irish captain, well, you know, some people will criticise the fact he's lost a yard of pace. Some people are saying he doesn't need a yard of pace. Well, there he is, keeping it up. Didn't look particularly slow there either. It's the initial break and link-up play, though, from Conor Murray and Gary Ringrose. Ringrose looking for support. He had two options. He finds his captain, who goes over. And Johnny Sexton, who's been flawless off the tee, has just given himself the easiest one of the lot. Look at that, bang. Holds it, and then Johnny Sexton comes across, bang, and off he goes. They got Bandiaki's options as well. And Sexton under the poles. Good awareness though from Ringrose. Really good work. He's been very, very solid this game once again. Massive fan of Gary Ringrose. I think he's absolutely world class. Right, and with just over a minute to go, Johnny Sexton's going to take his time, catch his breath a little bit. Not sure they're looking at it. Oh, yeah, just checking to see if the try's been awarded. And now he'll just pop this over. And there's the bonus point for Ireland. And as he makes it 31 points to 6, I think it is. Yeah, look what it means for the entire squad. Johnny Sexton, very popular man. A lot of people don't like him for his refereeing antics and his whinging and moaning. Some people do accuse him of doing it, but there's one thing that you cannot deny about Johnny Sexton. He's absolutely world class. His teammates know that. Everybody knows that. The rugby community knows that. And yeah, it's going to be a much... the game will be worse off when he does retire. Now, can Tonga respond? Bit of pressure at the breakdown. Fikitoa getting involved for the first time really today, making a few yards. Penalty advantage as well by high tackle for Tonga. So an opportunity for them for half-time to score some points. Big hit coming from Timo Fau, the big captain, big tight head. Counter-rack, and Puli's been put under a lot of pressure there. And they're going to go back for the penalty, which would be a very easy three-pointer, but 31 points to 6. There's no point there, is there? Well, there'll be 3 points, but they've got to go for the corner. They've got to go for the full Monty. They've got to go for full 7 points here, do Tonga. They're already trailing by 25 points. Absolutely no harm whatsoever. Savili will go for the corner. But if you score a try now, score some points, go in at let's call it 13 points to 31. It's not great. You're still not really in the game, but it's better than being 31 points to 6. At least you kind of go into the halftime with a bit of momentum. You then score a try first up in the first half, in the second half, and you can go 21, for example, 31, and all of a sudden you'll sit there saying, hey, we're not far away here. But yeah, high tackle there from James Ryan on Malachi Fikitoa. Wayne Barnes asking Tonga to hurry up a little bit as they come to the line-up. They're just on the 5 metre line, yeah, so big opportunity for them. Bring out a rolling more, try and sort of flex that pack that they've got. Ball over the top. Good take there from Losi. And it's been brought down here as the more. The question is it legal? Wayne Barnes is not holding up an advantage. Ball pops up. It's all broken apart here. But the ball is available though for Tonga. And penalty for in the side there. So they'll have another go. I'll tell you what, I'll think about a scrum if I were Tonga. Very, very good position. They do have a tight head for a captain. So I wonder if he might be tempted here. Yeah, I think he has called for a scrum. Yeah, I think that's a good move. It was a pretty solid hit. I don't think they're going to win a scrum penalty, for example. They're not going to drive Ireland over. Whilst they do have a lot of weight on Ireland, I don't think they really have the power to match it up. But it's a really good position. You've got some exciting players that you can try and get onto the ball. And I think that's the main thing is, just get yourself into a good position, anchor it, and see what your backline can cook up. William Avidi's played with some nice confidence the fly half. You've got Malachi Fekitoa. Piauta. He's up there as well. Yeah, as I was saying, very solid, very solid. Ball available. Puli goes himself, pops it up. Aki is working hard, working hard. They're trying to hold him up. He's driven backwards eventually, but it is still ball with Tonga. And another penalty, and I'll take another scrum. I would take another scrum. And it's a yellow card as well, and I think it's to James Ryan. No, warning's come, yellow cards. Peter O'Mahony's going off, so I would take it's exactly what I'd do, is I'd take another scrum. Right, Wayne Barnes wasting no time, saying I gave the warning. Now there's a man that's going to the bin. They've called for another scrum. You have Tonga. Big opportunity to try and hit before half time. Yeah, never any release there from Peter O'Mahony. Clearly cynical. And he got his marching orders. Right, opportunity here for Tonga. I don't know, a man short, and they'll have a man short when they come back after half time. You have a reset here. Yeah, so Bundy actually is going to pack down on the side of the scrum, so there will be a man short here. Will Ireland in the back line. So assuming that they can get a good anchor here and a good front foot ball, huge opportunity here for Tonga to try and score. And Charles Piatu is the man shouting out some orders. Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, it has to. If I'm Ireland right now, I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Fekitoa and saying it's going to one of those two. Piatu is such a solid player. Big scrum though coming from Ireland. Big scrum, pick up and go from Via Fafita. So not the clean ball that they would have liked, but Tonga still with ball in hand. Taking a while though for them to recycle possession. Never Fafita this time. Kumpulu almost through half a gap. It's a good snipe on the little scrum up. Another penalty advantage here for Tonga. I need to be careful of another yellow card here potentially. Options on the left, options towards the right. Pick up and go. Fafita. I'm trying to slow things down. Josh Van der Vliet trying to slow things down. Puli looking for options. Aki goes himself. 2 meters out. Quick ball here. Piatau right up against the touchline. Leaves the ball behind. Ball is loose. Fekitoa throws it back inside. I think it's Fafita once again that carries it. They're losing a bit of momentum here, though, at Tonga. Fekitoa, trying to get his arms to the tackle. Pops it up as well. Just short here, Tonga. Pick up and go, setting up here. A lot of Ireland players there. There's a lot of width over Tonga want to use it, but no advantage there. There was a knock on, so we're going to go back for the penalty. And I'll tell you what, if I was Tonga, I'd be very tempted to have another scrum and have another go. Yeah, the coach is down by the side there, wanting to walk in. Yeah, I'm going to take a scrum here at Tonga to try and see if they can score a try before half time. come back against a 14-man Ireland side in the second half and try and see if they can score first. So they can score first, get themselves a little bit close. As I said, when it comes to like upsets, and especially when you're chasing the game, it's about keeping distance. You know, if you're in touching distance, a late try can change anything. But if you're not in touching distance, there's no point. So you can't let them get too far ahead. They are probably too far ahead. I mean, this would be an incredible comeback if they were to come back from 25 points behind. But when you are 25 points behind, the best thing you can do is make sure you can just slowly close that gap. Big hit there, solid hit there from Tonga. 5 feet-er, picks up and goes. 5 feet-er, he's going to go over. Surely has to. Has to. He does. The power, the skill set. Brilliant from Fafita. Really, really good work from him. And that is exactly what Tonga needed before half-time. It looked like a positive scrum, and as soon as they're slightly angled, it sort of created a bit of space from bang, cuts back inside. Conor Murray, if I think it's Sexton actually, he gets across too late, and Caelan Doris not strong enough to stop them marauding via Fafita, who's pretty difficult to stop at any times, let alone 10 meters out of the back of a pretty solid scrum. Look what it means to the fans as well. So, not a great half from Tonga, but a perfect end to it, as William Havili will look to try and add the extras. 31 points to 11. It is a 20-point game. This to make an 18-point game. And the big thing, though, is that Peter was down for quite a long time during the half. And now looks like he will be able to, well, based on that, he looks pretty okay to continue. Yep, no issues there from William Halivili. Right, half-time score, 31 points to 13. And it's not, the scoreline maybe not as reflective of the game as it potentially could be. I think Ireland had about a 10 to 15 minute period where they were really good. Lots of calls about potential forward pass in the build-up to one of the Ireland tries. So a little bit controversial there. I suppose you take off 7 points from Ireland. All of a sudden, 24 points to 13 is a pretty close game. But at this stage, 31 points to 13. Tonga not going away just yet. Still lots of work to do down in Nantes. And we'll return after a bit of a break. Please do smash the like on there. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. And we'll see you guys in just a little bit.
Hello and welcome to Forever Sports. My name is Reese. I'll be talking to you a little bit today about one of our channel partners, BITDEFENDER. BITDEFENDER is a global leader in cyber security. BITDEFENDER is committed to defending people all around the globe against cyber attacks, as well as to transform people's digital experiences. In the next 6 months, Forever Sports will be covering major tournaments such as the Rugby Championship, the Premier League, the remainder of the Formula 1 season, as well as embarking on the biggest Rugby World Cup YouTube campaign ever. To ensure that these are all a success, it is imperative that the Forever Sports channels and platforms remain uncompromised. And with BITDEFENDER, we can be assured that our cybersecurity needs are being taken care of. To read more on BITDEFENDER, please be sure to check the links in the description of our video. Once again, thank you very much to our partner, BITDEFENDER, for joining the channel. I've been Reese here on Forever Sports. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, Stevie P here from Forever Sports, and I'm here to tell you about BOYLESPORTS, the official betting partner of Forever Sports. Across all of our channels, they are one of the leading betting companies in the world and have recently launched in South Africa with an amazing offering. You can get a 1,000 Rand welcome offer. For the rugby, they are giving you 25% payout boost up to 2,000 Rand on the Springboks winning the World Cup, as well as an extra 50 Rand bet when you stake 250 more on rugby during the Rugby World Cup. It is your one-stop betting shop. That is BOYLESPORTS. Come and join us in the community. Check the links in the description to sign up. Get yourself an account and make sure that you are winning big with BOYLESPORTS. Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport for today's World Rankings preview. It is round 2 of the Rugby World Cup, and as a result, the rankings will continue to change. We saw quite a lot of change over the last weekend. None so much in the top 5 of the top 10, but a lot in the bottom 5 of the top 10, in that every single team in the bottom 5 of the top 10 did move. And so there can be a lot more movement this weekend with a lot of very interesting clashes taking place over the weekend. So, yeah, before we look at exactly what some of the permutations are and what you can expect for the weekend, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So in terms of the permutations, we'll go through exactly what World Rugby have shown us and what they've sort of told us could happen. Unfortunately, it probably doesn't look as much exciting as it was maybe a week ago, because a lot of the big teams are playing sort of smaller teams, the likes of New Zealand playing in Namibia, South Africa versus Romania, France versus Uruguay, for example. So Scotland are playing. So a lot of teams in the top 5 can't really make much movement. So much more so in sort of the bottom 5 of that top 10, which could change. So these are the permutation highlights that have been published by World Rugby ahead of the second week. So only 2 of the 8 matches over the weekend will have an impact if the highest ranked team is victorious, a consequence of the significant difference in rating between the opposing teams. So that means that only 2 teams who are ranked higher than their opponents could actually make movements this weekend. So England could only improve their rating by 0.02 points with victory over Japan, given the 9.93 points difference between the teams. This means they can go no higher than their current 6th position, but also puts them at risk of being overtaken by Australia if the Wallabies beat Fiji by more than 15 points. So the Wallabies are one of the few sides that can rise quite a lot. If that were to happen, Australia would climb 2 places up until 5th, which would leapfrog both England as well as replace Scotland, who are not playing this weekend and so cannot change their ranking at all. If that were to happen, Fiji will slip out of the top 10 if beaten by this margin, and as well as Samoa beating Chile. A smaller margin of defeat for Fiji will see them fall 1 place down to 10th. Wales will drop out of the top 10 for the first time since the rankings were introduced if beaten by Portugal by more than 15 points, and can go potentially as low as 13th if Samoa beat Chile by 15 points as well. Any form of victory for Portugal will earn them a new high of 15th. That is against Wales, unless Tonga spring a surprise against Ireland. Pretty unlikely, but you never know. We're interested to see exactly how this Tongan side will go this weekend. Yeah, Portugal will return to the World Cup stage after 16 years. Could go as high as 12th, depending on the margin of victory and other results. Whilst Chile can enter the top 20 for the first time if they beat Samoa for their first World Cup victory, leaving Namibia, as long as assuming they used to New Zealand, as the lowest ranked team in the tournament. Samoa, meanwhile, could fall as many as 5 places if they lose to Chile. None of the top 4 teams in the rankings can improve their rating. There is still scope for a change at number 1 during this round of matches. South Africa came within a point of returning to top spot last weekend, and the Springboks will become the new number 1s if they beat Romania and Ireland do not beat Tonga. So if it is a draw or Ireland lose to Tonga and South Africa beat Romania, South Africa will go to number 1. In this scenario, along with the France win against Uruguay on Thursday, we'll see Ireland drop from the 1st to 3rd place, and Ireland can drop to 4th if the margin is by more than 15 points, and assuming New Zealand beat Namibia. Tournament host France can also climb to top spot if they win, and Ireland and South Africa fail to do so. So South Africa and Ireland do not win, and France do win, they can go up to number 1 in the world. France must lose to Uruguay to drop to 4th below a victorious New Zealand. The All Blacks, with a victory, can move to top spot if Ireland, France, and South Africa are all beaten, providing the Irish margin of defeat is more than 15 points. So that's far more for New Zealand. So for New Zealand to go to number one, France have got to lose, South Africa got to lose, Ireland have got to lose by more than 15 points. A draw against Le Bleu would be enough for Uruguay to climb above a beaten Portugal into 16th, whilst Tonga must beat Ireland and hope Japan lost to England to improve on their current 15th position. Romania will climb above USA up to 18th if they draw with South Africa. Those are the permutations. So again, not a lot of movement expected. And again, very unlikely in the top four unless there are some upsets. Scotland, however, could be in danger of being overtaken by Australia if they go on to beat Fiji this weekend, which they're sure they were looking to do by more than 15 points as well. So that's probably really where the movement could be, looking at England, Japan, Fiji, Australia. Wales can't really do much to improve themselves, but they can fall out. So, yeah, let me know what you think is going to happen this weekend. Where are you seeing potential upsets? Are there going to be potential upsets? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. Right, welcome back to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for the second half. And Tyke Furlong has decided that he's done for the night. Well, I don't think he's decided, to be fair. I think Andy Farrell has decided that Tyke Furlong is done for the night. And Finley Beatham has walked out. And Peter Marnie walks out to go and sit back on his sin bin. And we are almost underway. So I'm playing left to right. They've currently got a decent lead, but it was Tonga who scored the final points of the second half. So let's see if they can start the second half as they finish the first. And the deep restart there goes to BITDEFENDER, who scored a try just before half time. So good work from there. A long kick there from... That's a great kick, actually. And Hugo Keen's having to go all the way back into his own half. But just, so it's Kilcoyne, Finley Beatham, and... I think that's... yeah, they're all three on. So a brand new front row there. That's horrible from Hugo Keen. That's a knock-on from Ireland. And it will be a Tonga scrum just outside the 22. And Johnny Sexton as well, by the way, who's been replaced. So, yeah, lots of... I'm trying to go through the team list here and see exactly who's been replaced. But as you can see, a bit of a hit out. And Peter O'Mahony as well, who has got a yellow card. He hasn't changed his shirt, but is getting a bit of treatment. So I'm not sure if he'll be coming back on. So, yes, here we go. Johnny Sexton, Andrew Porter, Ronan Kelly, and Tyke Furlong all off. Rob Herring, Dave Kilcoyne, Finley Beatham, as well as Ross Byrne on. So Ross Byrne will get 40 minutes to show everybody what he can do. And a penalty there from Tonga. So, right, this actually could be a bit of decision time here. Once again, doesn't really make sense to take the 3 points. But they scored 7 before half time. They take 3 now. That's 10 points. It's at the moment it's an 18-point game. They can make it a 15-point game, which is still quite a large points difference. But again, you know, it's all about sort of building it sometimes, isn't it? So. Yeah, an interesting decision here to make. But again, is your man down? So yeah, decision time really here for Tonga. And just trying to sort of refresh my feature. They're taking the 3 points, and Havili has absolutely nailed that once again. Really good work from him. And yeah, they make it 31 points to 16. So yeah, 10 points. The last 10 points they have scored have been for Tonga. So I suppose from that perspective, they are trying to sort of make a bit of a comeback. They are back still a man up on Ireland, so need to try and do a lot more than that, to be perfectly honest. It's a really good restart though. But again, you know, confidence. Playing with confidence is a big thing. And a big up and under there coming from Tonga, and Hugo Keenan underneath it. This time takes it pretty well. Gets away from one, trying to get away from another. Is brought down on the halfway line. Conor Murray going to Caden Doris. Or James Ryan, rather. Now Conor Murray returning the favour. That's just outside 22. It's pretty well weighted as well. Very, very good take there from, I think it was, it's Havili actually, William Havili. But decided to go down the short side. Bit of space. He's get around the outside. Oh, that's a brilliant offload. Brilliant take as well. Good skill set being shown by the Tongans there. Quick ball needed. Third place for scrum off the for Tonga as well. So a couple of subs for Tonga as well. As Augustine Pulu was hooked at half time. And Sonatoni Takalua has come on in this place. Going with a 6-2 split, by the way, have the Tongans trying to really hit home that weight and size advantage that they do have on Ireland in the pack. That's looking pretty. No, that's pretty terrible. I was gonna say Lucia is looking pretty good, and then and then it just doesn't go out at all. Makata throws it back inside. It's a big chance wasted there for Tonga from the penalty. Right, what can they conjure up now? Now he's kicked into touch. I mean, how's that for? Terrible. Havili missing touch when he had the penalty, and then when he doesn't have the penalty, he tried to chip it over the top, and then he puts it in touch. That's a great pass, though, by the way. As Charles Piatau, he's been so good. No, but it's like behind this Conor Murray. It's a really good kick. Oh my goodness, he's missed it as Gary Ringrose. He's not particularly happy. He cannot believe it. In fact, Conor Murray, the little chip in behind, a really intelligent kick as well, and it should have been pretty easy to feel, but Tonga making a bit of a mess of it, and then all of a sudden the ball over the try line, and Gary Ringrose missing out on it, which led him smashing the ground in distaste, but did manage to. So Tonga surviving that scare. Now all the way back. And Takalua goes back to Havili, who decides to go himself. Sees a bit of space. Not quite sure what the thinking was there. He's run straight back. Well, they won a penalty, so he's gotten away with it. That's a much better kick there from Havili. He puts Tonga inside Ireland territory. That's kind of what he needed to do 5 minutes ago. And that's Iron Stone in their line now. That's really good work from Ty Byrne, and Josh van der Fleer comes away. It's been a bit of a quiet game for Josh van der Fleer, the World Player of the Year. Not been as involved as you'd probably like to have been. Now fouls pass back to Ross Byrne. Ross Byrne dabs it over the top. Down the middle here. And Carter needs to clear it, and doesn't clear particularly well. So there's a bit of space ahead for James Lowe. He's also been very quiet. Right against touchline, gives it inside to Bandiaki. Tyburn ball comes out. Conor Murray pops it up towards Gary Ringrose. Gary Ringrose working hard. The tackle just inside the 22-yard island. Down on the right-hand side goes Caden Doris. Quick ball there from Conor Murray. James Lowe comes back inside. Long pass out wide towards Rob Herring. He finds himself with a bit of space. Crashes into the 22. Oh, it's a huge, huge hit, but the ball's come loose and Tonga turn it over. Piatau. Good hands, good hands. Now the kick and chase is on. Carter kicks deep and Mac Hansen's going back, as is, it looks like, James Lowe. So Hugh Keenan gets away from one. This is where Hugh Keenan can be so dangerous. Gets back on the inside, gets the ball away as well. I'm going to go back into the half on the left-hand side. And ball comes loose and Iron still have it. That's a huge thumping hit coming on Kilcoyne. Showing going from Conor Murray, and it falls loose and eventually falls back to Ross Byrne. Not too many options, so he's going to kick and chase himself. In fact, I think it's Keenan really well taken as well by Havili, and eventually going to go back for, I don't know if it's a penalty or a knock-on. I assume it's a penalty. Very messy passage of play there. I have a look at where the knock-on stuff is. Right, so go now under a lot of pressure. I'm winning the penalty, kicking deep towards the corner there. A couple of substitutions here now coming for Tonga. But a big opportunity for Iron to just try and sort of stop the momentum. So a substitution here, Samuel Lemoli comes on in place of Paula Ngamo. So a new hooker on the park for Tonga, just the two subs. Bandiaki losing the ball backwards, apparently. So it falls back to Ross Byrne. Inside ball, good hands there. Good hands, Hughie Keenan eventually. Iron about 10 meters out now. Conor Murray going to Josh van der Fleer. And got no advantage. They go back for the penalty here for offside. That's gone really well. I've topped off my bloody drink on my shirt. Well done, Steve. It's been a long day. Oh, I also need to remove my yellow card because Peter Marnie is back on the field. Right, so another substitution here for Tonga. And it looks like it's going to be a tap and go here for Ireland, by the way. Tap and go, it is indeed. Has he gotten over? Has he gotten over? It was a really good tap and go from Rob Herring. And guess what? He is over. You know, I don't want to be critical, but I saw this, I think it was Namibia last. In fact, who was it that was watching? Doesn't matter what tier nation, doesn't matter who you are, you should not be able to score for first phase tap and go. You know what's coming. I don't care who the player is. You get your players ready. Rob Herring has tapped and got himself and gone straight over, and that cannot happen. He's not even that big, is Rob Herring. It's a marauding run, and he's got a bit of... He gets nice and low. Oh dear, we're going to have a look here. I think there's double movement here, by the way. I think he's too short. I think he's short here. So you stop the momentum and then eventually goes like, It's an interesting decision, yeah. Very, very interesting decision. Yeah. He's initially pretty short and then eventually gets bundled over. I don't think he reaches, so... But no try. Yeah, no try is the call. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he himself tries to move, but he does get short. He doesn't try and place it, and then there's a second shove that eventually pushes him over. So, double movement is the call. Try has been chalked off. And Rob Herring will have to come and do some defending and not have that extra World Cup try to his name. And William Avili, on the other hand, will have a penalty and have an opportunity to clear. As Tonga are under a lot of pressure here. Right, so that's more subs here. Just watch the replay. It's good defending initially by Ireland. As I said, maybe I wasn't being harsh. I was saying that you should be defending. That's a great ball by Byron Feater. He's got a bit of a marauding run. And he's got a man outside him. Look at the power. He just lost the ball. How have you lost the ball? He was just running and he just lost the ball. And now Josh van der Fleer's on the run. I mean, Byron Feater was looking absolutely brilliant. And then just from nothing, he just loses the ball forward. Mac Hansen, long pull out there towards Robbie Henshaw is onto the park as well. Looks like he's on for Gary Ringrose. Rob Herring now, the non-try scorer. Conor Murray goes back to Ross Byrne. Not too many options. So Ross Byrne goes to the boot. It's a hanger up there. It's a horribly taken. Ty Byrne comes away with it. Looking for options. Ty Byrne decides to eventually go himself. And they'll go back for the knock on there. Really, really poor under the high ball there. Was Simon Power. It's just, you can't. I mean, you're a back three player. I mean, it wasn't even actually under pressure. So to have knocked it on this bad, he gets completely wrong. Ball in, ball straight back up behind him. Pretty poor in the end. It's a great run from Peter. And he's got a man on the outside, and if he gives it, he goes all the way, by the way. He gives that inside ball. And I think Losi would go all the way. Conor Murray is trying to get back. So is Ty Byrne. And he just loses it forward. Hands not in two hands. Dry smile, but really that should have been a try. That could have been Tonga back in the game, to be honest. That could have been 31 points, 23. Could have been 8 points behind all of a sudden. Right, crouch behind set here for Ireland. I just can't believe IFE to butcher that. And I will use the word butcher because he could have gone and should have gone all the way there. Peter Marnie, by the way, is coming at 8th man there. Penalty advantage here for Tonga. So quite a few subs on for Ireland here. Ryan Baird is on, as is Ian Henderson. James Ryan off. Tyler Burns still on, by the way. Peter Marnie now, as I said, coming at 8. And they're going to go all the way back for the penalty advantage for Ireland. So, yeah, scrum looking very good all of a sudden there for the men in white. So Ty Furlong's back on the field. Not quite sure what has happened to Finley Beelum. Penalty, and you can see the disappointment in the face of the Tongan captain, Ben Tamafuna, because he's not sure about that call at all. Craig Casey, by the way, onto the park. So not adding a lot of weight is Craig Casey, but a lot of energy. Rob Herring going on a bit of a run there on the back of the line. Good work there. Him and Josh van der Fleer linking up nicely. And watch how Craig Casey going to try and put a little bit of speed into the distribution here. Bandiaki now came back on the angle. So Craig Casey popping up. Good work this from Ireland. Tonga under a lot of pressure here. But I think they've won that part to say. Having said all that, as I said that, straight over the top, Ty Furlong's come back onto the park. He's got a blood nose. And the first thing he's done is that he's given away a penalty. Really, really good work there by Tonga to win that penalty in the ground. So they're under a lot of pressure. This is a bit like in the first 10 minutes where Ireland had a lot of opportunities, but Tonga did really, really well just when they needed it the most to just affect some sort of turnover, something or other. And sort of hang on as Havili looks for touch. Not the best touch finder from Havili, to be honest, but it'll work. JP saying, just showing, do Tonga have a chance? Also, any Irish injuries? Well, Tyreek Furlong's come back on, so I assume that means that Finley Beelum is injured. Tonga, I mean, chance to do what? Win? Probably not, unless they score the next try. They have scored 10 unanswered points so far, so they would have scored 17 unanswered points. Maybe, but you do start to wonder how long they will go before Ireland. I think Ireland will score again. I think that's just inevitable. And as they've turned the line over, and Bandiaki's come away with it. Craig Casey going short to Tyke Furlong. Back on the park. Not a player they would have liked to have played basically almost a full 80. Penalty now for Ireland. And I'll tell you what, if I'm Ireland, I'm 31-16. I've just had 10 unanswered points scored against me. I've already got my bonus point. If I'm to the corner, I would very much think about going the 3 points here. Oh, straight through the middle goes James Lowe in the back of the line out, and there it is. The last chance that Tonga had was to score a try before Ireland answered. And as I said, kind of thought there was a matter of time before Ireland that they would score. And, well, James Lowe, who's been very quiet in the first 2 games, if we're being perfectly honest, he's gone bursting through the middle there. Yeah, it's good work there from James Lowe. It's a good set move there from Ireland to get their prolific winger. He usually scores a lot of tries in under there. Ross Byrne adds the extra 36 points to 16. It's back to being a 20-point game. And you probably think that is it for Tonga, who've been spirited. Who have been spirited. They've been physical at times. They've been good at times. But I think Ireland were always going to be a bit too good, and now really starting to move to class there. And we're going to a drinks break, which are making these games very long, by the way. So what do we think, people? What do we think of this Tonga performance? Bearing in mind that we've got to play them in about 2 weeks' time. Is there something to worry about here? Do we think that this is going to be a potential banana peel? Are we feeling confident? How are we feeling about this Irish performance? You know, I don't think they've been at their best. They've had some good moments. Still not really looking like the Ireland from the Six Nations Grand Slam, if you ask me. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. I mean, they've been good tonight at times. They've been really good tonight at times. But I think they can get better. I do think they can get better, which is probably quite scary, actually, in many ways. The fact that they've scored 36 points, 38 points rather, and I still think that they can get better. I think they can get more accurate. Johnny Sexton, by the way, looks very good though. I think that's the main thing. Susan says Sexton injured or just subbed off. I think it's just subbed off. I think they're just taking precautions with him, which is, from our perspective, pretty perfect. He got through last weekend. He's gotten through 40 minutes tonight, looking really good, getting game time into him, and he looks really good. James says also, congrats on getting to France TV. I was in, I'll say, for the Scotland game, ended in beating Fafsi and Moynier Toulon was surreal. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I said I'm currently sitting in Bordeaux. We're going into the game tomorrow, which is very exciting, but it's been a pretty hectic couple of days, to be honest. Not too many hours of sleep and lots and lots of traveling. I'm going to go head out to Bordeaux and see you at night after this as well. It's about 20 to 11, so I'll probably get out there about 11:30, spend an hour just walking around and seeing what the town is like. And then tomorrow, yeah, we're going to be at the Romania game, which is going to be a lot of fun. But the captain there for Tonga going off, big shift coming from Ben Tamafuna. The big man getting through 60 minutes of work at 155 kgs. It's not an easy task. Okay, Casey firing out towards Ross Byrne. Ross Byrne hanging high in the air. Looking to try and target the Tonga back. That's a brilliant take. I think it's Charles Piatau. It's a fantastic take. Pikitoa comes away with it. Valaluna coming on. Tonga pretty much emptied their bench here. And with the 6-2 split, that means 6 new forwards. Good work there from Tonga. A couple of phases here. Needs to try and remain disciplined. Pikitoa at first receiver. Nice solid carry there coming from Funaki. Solid work there from Tonga. Quite getting through the phase, going through 12 phases so far. Not really breaking any lines. And then that's just been dropped forward from Avili. As I say that, as I was saying, it's solid work, and then it's a dreadful pass. Absolutely dreadful. And that's pretty much equally dreadful. The game is deteriorating here, people. The quality of the game is deteriorating rapidly here. Got to get a bit better. Right, Burton says, I believe Ireland want to send out false alarms with below par performance. Definitely not reading too much into this match. Look, I don't think they'll want to send out false alarms. You know, I don't think any team ever goes out wanting to be... Oh, it's dreadful from James Lowe. I just get James Lowe for me has just not really been on song. I thought he was pretty average last weekend. Scored a try 5 minutes ago, so again, probably comes across a bit harsh, but I mean, like that kind of moment, that's just sloppy from James Lowe. And against the best teams, you can't afford to be sloppy like that. 19 minutes left on the clock for this game, and Ireland very much in charge here. The big thing for them will be, injuries and a clean bill of health. And yeah, look, Finney Beaton has gone up, but apart from that, I think they're doing all right. I don't think any other injuries were, or any other replacements rather, were from injuries. Interesting, some stats there: 612 meters being carried by Ireland, almost double that of Tonga, 94 carries to 60. And a penalty from Ireland at scrum time. So they'll have a free exit here. And Ross Byrne looking to try and up the ante here. This is something that I've noticed a lot from Ireland lately. Ireland do not hang around. They really try to keep the pace of play up. Penalty there. First thing that Ross Byrne has done is he's run to the referees, grabbed the ball, he's put the ball in touch. The entire Ireland pack is running back. They really, when they feel they've got a bit of ascendancy and they've got their team under pressure, they really up the ante, really up the speed of play, and just sort of keep hammering them down. And it kind of just sort of a way they just grind teams out, isn't it? It's just relentless. Wesley's saying, is Ireland a threat to the Springboks? What is your opinion? I think they definitely are a threat. I think they're a threat to any team. I definitely, I think if you write them off, you write them off at your own peril, to be honest. I still believe it's there. Oh, that's a great line being run. Bundee Aki, and the pace, and the pace, and the pace. Bundee Aki, far too easy. I spoke about how some players have not looked bright and on song for Ireland. One player who has looked absolutely brilliant and undroppable at the moment is that man Bundee Aki. The line that he's just run and the pace being displayed is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Look at this line. Look at this line. Wrap around. Bang. On the inside. And then bang. Look at the pace he then shows to round. I think it's Havili that he does round in the end there. Really good work from him. Bundee Aki has started this tournament so well. Probably been one of... If I had to go player of the tournament right now, I'd be putting him up there. I think he's been brilliant again tonight. He was phenomenal last weekend. Playing some proper rugby at the moment. Good work there from Ireland trying to build deep from the restart. He goes back towards Craig Casey. Craig Casey looking for options. Craig Casey goes himself. Bounces off the man. Gets up and goes again. Craig Casey. Slippery customer is the young scrum half. Exciting play. But turnover ball here for Tonga. And they've got options down the left. And that ball's going to go forward surely. Yeah, it is unfortunately. Right, so scrum here for Ireland, which at the moment looks like penalty time. They've decimated the Tongans at scrum time in the second half so far. Johnny Sexton watching on, looking very comfortable with life. And James, what happened to Henshaw full around line series, who's been touted as one of the best centers in the world, doesn't seem to feature these days. I guess same goes for Chris Harris for Scotland. Look, Henshaw's on at the moment. I just think Scotland, I mean, Ireland are just so blessed at the moment that they've got. Yeah, look, to be fair, before the tournament, I probably would have gone with Henshaw and Ringrose as my centres. I do think that Robbie Henshaw is world class. And James Lowe coming off the side there, off the back of the scrum. Good work there from Ireland. Craig Casey now going to Ross Byrne, going short. Good pop up there now, looking for options to tag Byrne, trying to get through a gap. Good tackle on him. I'll come back to Henshaw in a minute. Penalty advantage here for Ireland. There's the penalty as well. Yeah, look, I think Robbie Henshaw is absolutely world class. I think he walks into pretty much any team in the world, to be honest. And then I think Ringrose as well. So I think you've got 3 centres who you can interchange with 0 drop in quality. Bandiaki is probably the form player right now. I do think Henshaw is a much better overall player than Bandiaki. Doesn't necessarily have the same power game, but he's absolutely brilliant. And I think there's just 0 drop in quality across the 3 players. I think Robbie Henshaw is a brilliant player. I'd like to see him get a start. I mean, I'm trying to decide which centres I'd rather not face against for the Springboks. And for example, if Henshaw starts ahead of Aki, yes, on the form right now, you'd be like, oh, I'm glad we're not playing Bundy Aki. But then I'm looking and going, oh, we're playing Robbie Henshaw, and I'm probably just as nervous, to be honest. But it is weird how he just doesn't seem to be able to get that same amount of sort of starting time at the moment. But Bundy Aki's just playing such good rugby at the moment. I just don't think you could swap him. So you could play Robbie Henshaw outside centre. You can play at both. Like he is tonight, playing outside centre. Speak of the devil, and that wasn't carrying out. Now Mac Hansen getting involved as I don't know, 5 metres out. Craig Casey looking to go himself, spins back on the angle. And then probably short Ireland looking to try and build. Going through some of the phases here. A few metres out. Tyke Furlong. Pretty upright. He's going to almost be driven over. Needs to come down. Last will be a goal line dropout. They do manage to make it available for Craig Casey. Looks for options. Bandiaki steps back on the inside. Then goes to himself. A few metres short. Craig Casey looking to work down the left hand side. Decides now to go down the right. Henderson, big carry there from him. Craig Casey showing go himself. Probably should have popped that, and I think it could have gone over, actually, Craig Casey. Bit of try line fever there for the scrum off. Good work. It's good work here by Ireland. They've gone through the phases, the 11 phases now, popping up just on the clear. Options. And what did we say? Bundy Aki, the form player of the tournament, he's got another one. Under the poles, straight over. This man cannot be stopped. Next weekend, same time, same place. Bundy Aki versus one of Andre Estes or Damien Delendi. You do not want to miss it because this could be one of the matchups of the tournament. Bundy Aki with the brace. Ireland really starting to put the accelerator down now. And Tonga, you can see in the faces, are shattered. Absolutely shattered. Yeah, the power game there, just left, right, wearing down the defense. You can see how slowly they're walking back to the halfway line. Ross Byrne, meanwhile, is running back to things. They want to up the ante here to Ireland. Good restart once again. Bundy Aki getting over the advantage line once again. He's putting a lot of graft to his Bundy Aki, making sure he's involved. Deep box kick there. The ball's just come out and gone out wide there. Yeah, the game's kind of deteriorating a little bit. Opening up, but it's moving to the final 10 minutes there. But Bundy Aki's been absolutely superb. I'd be very surprised if we go look anywhere further than him for man of the match. Wesley saying, brilliant try. Tonga starting to be tired. Yeah, you can see they're knackered. They're absolutely knackered. Campo saying, wow, this is the first complete performance of the World Cup. Absolutely clinical from Ireland. Yeah, I mean, I was mentioning earlier that there was room for improvement, but the last 10 to 15 minutes have been the Ireland that we've been waiting to see, to be honest. I think that it's the fitness as well, the conditioning, and the second half performance with the subs has just added a whole different dimension. You know, I thought the first half they were good and they scored some good tries, but they allowed Tonga to start climbing back into the match. And so I thought that's a great pass out wide there. And I thought that, you know, the second half they started well, but the last 20 minutes have been vintage, absolutely vintage. And you can see there's a confidence shift. There's like a moment and there's a confidence shift where all of a sudden they suddenly got on top. They up the ante, they up the space of play, and since then Tonga have just had absolutely no answer. And Ireland are now starting to run and tries for fun. JP said, who's the biggest underachiever so far this World Cup, and who's the closest to an upset so far in your views? I still can't get over Argentina's shock. Yeah, I think that's probably the upset, inverted commas, so far of the tournament. I don't think there really has been any others. I mean, Wales technically is ranked lower than Fiji, so I suppose that's also an upset from a rankings point of view. In terms of the closest to the upset, I didn't watch the France versus Uruguay game, but I've heard that was a really good performance from Uruguay. I still haven't been able to get the highlights. I'm over in France and things are a bit different, so I'm trying to work out how I can consume all my rugby, all the highlights and stuff like that. I think not too many big upsets that have really been on the cards, which has been a bit frustrating. You're kind of hoping to see a bit more of that. Even for today, for example, Samoa pretty comfortably beating Chile in the end. Good hands, good hands, good. Oh no! And then it goes forward. It was good hands in the end, up until it got to Fina Nisi, who then just knocked it on the replacement number 23 onto the park. Very poor from him. Right, so scrum here for Ireland as they look to try and score yet another try. 52 points to 16 is how it currently stands. Been an absolute masterclass on the men in white. Tonga have had no answer to them in the second half. But yeah, I'll definitely say a big penalty there. Ireland have definitely been the team so far in the tournament. Yes, they haven't played a tier 1 nation yet, I suppose. Well, it's Tonga, yeah, so they haven't played tier 1 nation yet, so it's difficult to know exactly how good Ireland are form currently in. I think, you know, if the Springboks go and put in a big performance tomorrow and, you know, put 70, 80 past Romania, you'd argue that they would also then have the best start of the tournament. France, good against New Zealand, not phenomenal, but good enough. And showed why they're still one of the tournament favourites against New Zealand. That lasted 20-minute pass to play. New Zealand, difficult to quantify the performance against Namibia last night after a poor performance against France. And England played pretty well against Argentina, but it was basically a George Ford show. So yeah, definitely been Ireland who have been the team so far. Next to, I think, South Africa. Oh my goodness me. Inisi's having an absolute nightmare of a game. He just walked past the ball there. Thankfully, Tonga managed to get it back, but that was absolutely dreadful from the replacement. Tonga trying to run outside the 022. Not too many options here for them. Now let's swing it back to Vili in the pocket. And he eventually does find touch to slow things down. Yeah, the Irish pressure is relentless at the moment. Just hammering away, not giving them an inch. Right, so Rob Herring comes to the side, throw the ball into the line. Ireland look to try and add to their tally. Can they try and hit the 60-point margin? They've hit 50. Yeah, and Shock and Horror, the MasterCard player of the match. Bandiaki, I said earlier that you'd have to give it to him. He has been that good. Absolutely world class tonight from Bandiaki. It looks like a very, very good atmosphere out there. Bit of break in play. It's taking a while to get things going again. Let's go dancing. I want to know all night dancing. Let's go dancing. Looks like a vibe. I'll tell you what's a good vibe at the stadium today. Can't wait to get back into that Border Stadium tomorrow for a Springbok game. It's the first Springbok game, by the way, I've watched since 2000 and I think 17 or 2018 at a push. Will be tomorrow at the World Cup. Yeah, so how's that for a game to get back into it? Speaking of get back into Tonga, 4 minutes to go. And that's been kicked ahead pretty pointlessly in the end, to be honest, by James Lowe. He's then returned the favour, gone on the right-hand side, looking for that 50-22, and he's found it. He has found it. Tonga becoming a bit of the architects of their own downfall here. An absolutely needless kick over the top. Just inviting pressure back. James Lowe catching it, nobody home, slotting in at 50-22, which is pretty straightforward in the end, to be honest. And this is where, teams like Tonga have just got to understand that, yes, you're tired, but you can't just switch off and start making silly mistakes like that. Porter says South Africa's World Cup, no doubt their fans are super confident. I wouldn't say we're that confident, but Camper says just as long as someone knocks the All Blacks out at the next World Cup, we'll probably go to them as it's basically a home World Cup. How's France? It's busy. It's hot, by the way. It's hot and busy at the moment. We will hopefully have a tour update for you guys the next day or two. It's been very hectic, so we haven't been able to do too much editing, but I'm hoping to get a couple of vlogs out. It's a great kick from Tonga. That's much better after that turnover ball from them. But it's been hectic. So very keen to get to the main game tomorrow and do some fan interviews and stuff like that. We did a couple today as well. But it's just been absolutely pedal to the metal. I need to catch up with some sleep at some stage. Not sure when that's going to happen. Maybe next week when we're in Paris for a bit. But this border weekend has been just non-stop running around, trying to get to grips with the transport, getting to games, sorting out accreditation. It's been cool though. It's been a good learning curve. Good wraparound. Oh my goodness. Hugo Keenan, look at the pace. He's got James Lowe. He gets it away to James Lowe. James Lowe's got Matt Hansen there. Really good work there. Giving it to James Lowe. Coming into 22. Craig Casey firing it out. Ian Henderson going himself. Ian Henderson making a yard or two. Craig Casey goes back. Ross Bird stabs it in behind. And PR2 does read it well, but there was a penalty advantage. They'll go back for the penalty. 2 minutes to go here. And Andy Farrell's had enough. He's walking through the crowd. He wants to get down to the bottom. There he's had it. He's seen what he needs to see out of the game. And he's going to go down to pitch side to congratulate his players who will finish the game in just over 2 minutes. Porter says Scotland could beat Ireland for sure, and how pathetic that would be. Look, I mean, they could. Scotland could beat Ireland. I don't think so if Ireland play anything like this, but, stranger things have happened. Big drive coming from Ireland. Can they score one last try to finish on a high? Get to that 59-point margin. Probably not enough time to hit 60, but could definitely hit 59. They go down. And James Lowe dropped it again. Butterfingers tonight, Mr. James Lowe. That's the second time now he's dropped it where he shouldn't have. Where's your yarn? So on the upsets, yeah, I mean, maybe the closest thing to an upset was Argentina versus England. I do kind of count that as a bit of an upset because I think that Argentina have been playing better rugby than England and are ranked higher and by all, so all the traditional sense of an upset. But I mean, they're teams that are so close that I wouldn't really call it an upset. It's like Ireland versus South Africa. There's no upset there. Whoever wins wins. Oh my goodness, straight over the top. And as Rob Herring scored this time, he has. He has indeed. It was cancelled out last time, and United talked about Tonga being the architects of their own downfall. They've just thrown the ball over the top of the line out into the hands of Rob Herring. He's gone, thank you very much, and gone straight over. And that kind of sums up the game, I think, in many ways. Missed the line out jumper, straight over to Rob Herring, who goes over, places it, says thank you very much. And that will be the final moment of the game, and the long, pretty poor evening for Ireland eventually comes to an end. The handshake's going around. Job done for Ireland, and they go marching on. 2 games, lots and lots of tries, very good performance, lots of minutes into a lot of their players as well. So, ticked all the boxes so far of Ireland, looking definitely the team of the tournament so far as Rossburn lines up this final conversion. People, thank you very much for joining me on the watch along. We will be live once again tomorrow. Wesley will be with you for the Romania game. Make sure you go and show him a lot of support. It's his first Springbok game. So please do go and join him for the watch along. We'll be giving you guys some updates from the stadium. So a lot of cool content coming your way in the morning from all of us here at Fair Sports. Thank you very much for joining us throughout the day. And we will see you guys once again tomorrow.